A European circuit home to all kinds of racing will play host to the first round of several for the 2022 MTEC Sprint Series. This 2-hour multi-driver series will kick things off here at Imola and a trek for the team championship in GT4 machinery with a Pro-Am driver lineup. This sun is out and it's a perfect day for racing in Italy. Hi everybody, Kyle Heyer, joined by Finian DeCuna for the first round of just a couple here for the spring and summer running of the MTEC Sprint Series here in 2022. Finian, over 20 teams and many more drivers here to compete at Imola for the first round.
Yeah, it's not too often we got to do but endurance racing here with multiple drivers per team on Sim TV, but we have an opportunity here. We got a fantastic list of drivers, a lot of familiar names looking at the drivers list, so I expect some great action here, especially from Imola, especially with these guys diving down into turn one, a bunch of different cars. Can't wait to get them to it.
And looking down at the racetrack there, you see the late afternoon sun beating down on this racetrack. It is absolutely gorgeous out there today. Of course, Imola has been around for a long while. It's about almost a century old now here. Look at this. Imola, Italy, population just about 70,000 people. Construction back in 1953, so working up to the 90-year-old age. And the Grand Prix held here has had 3 different names since its beginning in 1980. But heading down to the racetrack now for qualifying to get through all the drivers and teams, and there are over 20 teams competing, and you can have anywhere from 2 to 4 drivers in your lineup, Finian. In a 2-hour race, that's not a whole lot of time to get your drivers in and out, so we'll keep an eye on that all day long. But here's a look at the circuit. It is a challenging one here, Finian. There's lots of very famous corners. Kicking things off the rundown to turn 1, that's that left-hand kink before Traguardo, and then Tamburello, that left-hand kink before the Villeneuve chicane, turn 7 at Tossa, up to turn 8. Then Akminerale down the double right-hander towards Variante Alta. Probably one of the best passing opportunities here on the race circuit, Finian.
Yeah, I think it's really going to depend on how these guys try to outbrake each other, and especially that run out of Variante Alta. These cars don't have a lot of torque to them, so getting a run, keeping the momentum out of some of these corners is going to be important. And then heading down to Ravazza, 2 left-handers heading back into the front straight, or even that final corner back from Ravazza, again, same situation, not a lot of torque. Got to get a good run of there because you're going to be carrying speed down the entire straightaway down to turn number 1 yet again.
So heading into qualifying now, and the list of teams and their cars is on the left-hand side of the screen. Some of the team names are a little bit long. I would argue probably unreasonably slow. They're like 30 character long. It's almost a sentence there. But at the top of the order right now, it's the 888, the Sustin Martin, powered by Radio Baco. Mark Fodera in that car right now. And you'll notice there's 2 different car classifications. The white with the black numbers, that is your pro classification. The orange and black, those are your AM class cars. So they'll be having their own individual championships, but running for overall order as well. There's some familiar names that are kind of scattered throughout the field. We've seen Ray Kingsbury before. He's running with Penguin RC Simulations LLM. He's in the number 52, currently 7th overall. Murphy Nichols we've seen before. He's in one of the M-class cars right now in the number 55 BRT Heimdall car. So, Finian, this is kind of a homecoming for a whole bunch of drivers in this series, at least here on SimTV.
Yeah, DC representatives from the SCAR series, some guys we noticed from Indy Elite, noticed Austin Speedy in the field. I forgot which entry he is with at the moment, but we'll definitely find him as we go throughout the race. And yeah, also a few drivers I haven't raced with in years, but I see them here in that partly admins for this series. So great to just see a bunch of familiar names on the schedule, even though it's a new series. As qualifying still underway, most of the drivers have gotten a lap in except for the bottom 3. Still waiting on them. But as I'm looking through most of the field, and you can see it on the left-hand side of the ticker there, a lot of representation from the Aston Martin camp.
Absolutely, and this is a relatively new car here in iRacing, and it has been a popular one. We've seen a lot of people jump on board this car. It just handles very, very well. It's not going to fight you at all. It's going to have very nice handling over those transit maneuvers and the curbs, which we're going to talk about those curbs a lot tonight, especially the ones on the Variante Alta chicane, and there's some big ones there. But you can get yourself caught if you cut the curbs on the right and the left there. Big slowdown penalties if you're not a little bit too careful through there.
Yeah, that's a big thing these guys got to watch out for, is just making sure to keep it on the asphalt as much as possible. There is no DQ limit for having too many incidents, but that being said, you don't want to get those slowdowns because, especially depending on where you get them, they are really hard to give up, and you just lose so much of valuable time on the racetrack.
Kurt Crum is back running this series. There he is in the number 88. That paint does not look like it's loaded properly on that car, so heading down into first corner and jumping up over the curbs. Cody Crosgrove in the number 25. There he is. Beautiful livery on that Spark car, the DriveSVR.com LLM team. And he's currently 16th overall as it stands.
Yeah, working up the back side of the course, currently on their final qualifying lap. 4 laps given to these drivers. A lot of the teams have pretty much put their fastest lap in or used up all their laps in qualifying, so just kind of resting themselves out. Again, 2-hour race coming up here shortly, so drivers just taking what little rest they can get before they got to put some decent stints in.
Here's Complex Simworks. We've seen this team before. Christian Ost behind the wheel in the AM category, currently down in 15th overall, but you'll notice that he's about 5th in the AM class, so that's a pretty good start to his day so far, I would argue. Into Tossa, this is a really tight turn, but if you get a good drive out of here, you can really beat people up to the next section of corners and set yourself up for a run up into Variante Alta. That's Variante Alta, the chicane up there. That's a good passing opportunity. Ravaza as well towards the end of the lap, the 2 left-handers that lead onto the front straight. Good passing opportunities there as well as off into turns 1 and 2. But this is really just setting yourself up this sequence here.
Yeah, Alcomar Rally is so difficult. You have to throw the car in. You can see the back end sliding out from the 21. He's trying to get the car wound down because you're turning into a braking zone there, so it's hard to get these cars wound down. And then up through the chicane now to Variante Alta, the chicane we were talking about before. So easy to cut the corners here if you're taking a little bit too much, but very conservative from the 21. Obviously, don't want to get an off track because it's going to invalidate your qualifying lap, and this is going to be the last run for O's to try to get a faster lap in.
Yeah, looking at lap times here, and again, had a bit of a naming issue here, some spaces where there shouldn't be spaces, so we're going to see not the 3-letter abbreviations that you'll need to see, but there's the lap times there, 150.63, 2/10 is the lead that Mark Federa has over Kurt Crum at the moment. Then it's Joey Atterbury behind, another 10th beyond that. Then Brian Boomsma in the Bing TNRG car, the 019, then Satellite Racing GT4, Ryan Robertson behind the wheel. He's going to head into pit lane. Looks like he will conclude his qualifying effort for now. A lot of cars are already off track or are stopped. This one is not. This is the Grizzly TFR Sunset car of David Milnerotz. Wow, that's a heck of a last name. Milnerowitz. We'll work on that one. That's going to be one I'll have to say 10 times fast to get that one right.
Yeah, working his way down to Ackerman Rally, trying to look. He's on lap 3 of 4. So still has some attempts left. The number 80 machine.
I like the silver rims on that too. That's very street car-esque, I'd say.
I'm a simple man. I like black rims on absolutely every car, regardless. But mostly the silver rims do fit this livery very nicely. It works really well with the blue.
It does look good, and heading down towards Ravaza to finish up the laps here. So 2 minutes left here in the qualifying session. When we turn things over to the race, it's a 2-hour show from start to finish. And we talked earlier about the different team groups, right? You've got 2 drivers in some of the cars, up to 4 though. And that's an interesting dynamic because you're going to be basically pitting every half hour. And that's going to put you behind the 8 ball, I would think, just a little bit, Finian. So there's going to be some work to do for some of those teams. Here's Kurt Crum across the line in the 88 car, the BRT Odin car. And can he go any quicker? He does not, a 150.663. He actually did go faster, but not fast enough to improve his position, only 33 thousandths off of provisional pole from the Sustin Martin team.
Yeah, so I will say, adding on to the number of teammates these drivers have, from the looks of it, I think when doing a little bit more reading in the rule books, I think those are the amount extra drivers. I think those are backup drivers or substitute drivers that these guys have available.
Okay.
I don't think they're active drivers.
I was going to say, yeah, that wouldn't work too well.
Yeah. From the looks of it, everyone's got only 2 drivers per team in the server. So, and again, that makes the most logical sense because, as you mentioned, pitting every half an hour, that's not going to be the optimal strategy. So yeah, so I think some extra backup drivers, but more or less everyone with 2 drivers here this evening.
All right, again, having a look at the racetrack around here, one of the things I like about Imola is that it's wide enough to race pretty much everywhere, but the racing line will take you into some pretty narrow, tight areas and can lead you into trouble if you're not too careful. So this first sequence of corners, this first chicane before we head into Tamburello, this is one of those corners that's sort of artificially tight because of those sausage curbs on the inside. You do not want to find yourself climbing up on those. Those will certainly damage your car. GT3s, definitely. GT4s, you can get away with it if you get the splitter up over the top of it, but it's not something I would recommend doing on these opening laps. So be very cautious and careful until you get yourself into a rhythm.
Yeah, it's easier said than done. I'm sure some drivers definitely in the mentality of, 2-hour race, got a lot of time to work with, don't bang up your car. Some drivers see it the opposite way. You have 2 hours, but everyone's all up here. This is going to be where the most of the passing is going to happen at the start of the race. So some drivers may be going to take advantage of the guys playing a little bit more conservatively. So you can see that dynamic. Again, not the easiest place to pass is Imola. So in some of these corners, you're going to have to be very careful where you put the car. It's going to be a lot harder through some corners, especially Villeneuve. Pretty hard to put two cars side by side, especially cars that are not the most agile into some of these corners. So it'll be interesting to see what these guys have at play as qualifying is coming to a close.
All right, so 15 seconds left. The Sustin Martin team was going to be the pole-sitting team. Mark Federa behind the wheel in that 888, and he'll be teamed up with Lars Wheel behind the wheel of that car, the silver class driver in that Pro-Am lineup, or the Pro lineup, I should say. Kurt Crum in the 88. We paired up with Colin Daner, who we've seen a bunch before. As we head down to the grid, we're going to roll through these drivers that will be kicking things off. And Finian, we're going to start this off with our front row team. That, again, is that 888 team. And here is your starting grid. Mark Federa on that front row in the 888 car. He will start alongside Kurt Crum in the 88 in row number 1. Then row 2 is Joey Atterbury in AM, followed by Brian Boomsma in the 019. Behind them, it's going to be Ryan Robertson and Sarah Robb in the Penguin RC Simulations LLM Lone Star car. Then it's Murphy Nichols and David Melnerowitz in the number 80. Behind them, it's Ray Kingsbury in a Pro Class car, and Sam Harper will line up alongside him on the outside of row number 5. Then it's Cody Cosgrove in the number 25, Alex Sheridan in the number 60, then Josh Gowan, Gary Thomas in row number 7. Behind them, Christian Oss in the number 21 for Complex Simworks, then Andrew Mickey in the number 86. That's the Bombshell Racing Team car. Teammates with the number 88. That's the BRT, the Bombshell Racing Team, 88 and 86. Behind them in row number 9, it's Chris Sherburne in the number 07. That is the Sector 5 Black Ball car. Then Seth Rawls in AM in 18th in the number 16 car. That's the Shift Esports car. Behind them, it's Rob Powers in AM in the number 69 Kinetic Racing Team with Ryan Carwile, the number 71 for Bombshell Racing Team. Thor, they'll roll off in 20th. 21st will be Joshua Thomas in the number 22 for Kinetic Racing 61. Then Trent Brown in AM in the PG-13 racing car. He will roll off 22nd. The last driver on the grid will be Matt Chalker for Team Matt Chalker. He'll start 23rd if he gets on the grid. At the moment, he is currently not on the grid, Finney.
No, he's not even in the server, so that car is not going to grid. I wonder if he's... Hang on, let me check if he's supposed to be with someone else. Might have been an error with signing up, because I know there are supposed to be 23 cars, but not that 23rd card specifically.
Having a look at the weather. 75 in the air, 87 degrees Fahrenheit on the racetrack. As we prepare for our 2-hour event, that track temp will likely kind of fluctuate just a little bit. Shouldn't be too big of a deal, though. GT4 cars well set up for the conditions. So 2 hours are going to go up on the timing, and drivers will swap around that halfway mark. This race will be approximately 65 laps from beginning to end, and it's all 8s up front. 888 on the inside, 88 on the outside. Sustin Martin and Bombshell Racing Team Odin on the outside. Here we go. The Majors MTEC Sprint Series is about to go green here at Imola for the first race of the season. Green flag flies, and we're racing here in Italy. 2 hours on the board. Big dive up the outside by the green Porsche. That is the 019, the big TNRG car. There's some contact there on the outside, and a couple cars perhaps a little bit slow here in the first sectors as they try to get their way up to speed, Finian. A little bit of bumping and banging there, but so far so good, I think.
Yeah, this is this tough part of the race where everyone's trying to find their place in line. Ooh, the 019 is going to go off into the gravel. That Porsche is struggling. Going to get a slow down, definitely. He's going to have the 1, 2, 3.
Oh, Penguin RC Simulations car hard in the fence. The 52, big damage on the nose of that car. Got up into the gravel on the outside of the corner. Maybe got a little bit of help from the driver next to Ray, but that's Ray Kingsbury there. Had some help maybe from the 80, the Grizzly TFR Sunset car, and right out of the camera shot there. Absolutely slams the wall. Man.
Yeah, and he's pulled that car to the pit, so they may be done for the day. If not, they're going to have to get extensive repairs to that Aston Martin.
So right now it's Mark Federa leading the way in the Sustin Martin team. And trouble more behind. It's the 80 car again, turned around at Akmanarale.
Midfield.
Whoa.
And the field tiptoeing through that section to avoid the 80.
And look at this now, off into Variante Alta, some double file, singling out now. Complex Simworks car, that's the white and red car you see center screen. Christian Ost behind the wheel.
Ooh, and some side-by-side action up ahead of them. Dive for the 99, Woof. Contact, and gonna spin out the 18. Ooh, and the 99 also gonna get rear end, so a big, huge amount of bumping and banging towards the end of the lap.
Yeah, that's some big damage there. And Alex Sheridan, I think, has gone around at corner exit in the Porsche. So certainly a lot of carnage on the opening lap. It's a 2-hour race. Everybody cycles back out. There's still some battling behind them coming to the stripe to complete the first lap. The 07, the Sector 5 blackball car, Chris Sherburne. And the 31, the PG-13 racing car with Trent Brown behind the wheel.
And still a huge amount of cars in front of him trying to work his way, find a way on past. Got Joshua Thomas ahead of him in the 22 Kinetic Racing machine.
Up front, look at this battle here. Bombshell Racing team with Kurt Crum and the Sussin Martin team car. This is about 3 to 4 tenths between them for the top spot there. Then PG-13 threat level Midnight. Joey Atterbury runs third in the number 11.
Yeah, I noticed that Kurt Crum lost the leader a little bit on the opening lap, but the second lap, at least first half of it, has been charging and closing that gap down in the Aston Martin. See the Aston Martin run a little bit wide, Crum a little bit tighter in his line through Aquaman
Now down to Variante Alta, and Crum is closing just a touch here through the chicane. Jumps the curbs and will exit. Keep all 4 tires on the road there. It's really easy to get yourself a penalty. This track was adjusted a couple of months ago. It used to be a lot more forgiving in that chicane area. That has since been kind of rescinded, and you've got to really be cautious about getting yourself a cut track, especially early in the race when that penalty will hurt you even more. But for 12th place, Kinetic Racing, the MTEC 69 Rob Powers, and Seth Rawls driving the Shift Esports 16 right behind.
Yeah, and Rob Powers, the lone man in the BMW. No one else electing to drive this car. He gets a great run out of the final corner working on the McLaren.
That's Andrew Mickey for Bombshell Racing Team Loki. And real poor run off the final corner for Mickey, and he was going to drop 2, maybe 3 spots as here comes the big DNRG car, Gary Thomas. That's that green Porsche, or excuse me, McLaren. The other car is the green Porsche. And you'll note that there's only 2 of those Porsche Caymans in this field. That car used to be the car to pick. And there's only 1 BMW. That's the number 69 Kinetic team car that we saw a little earlier. There it is again. The Porsche really not as a popular choice. Now, we knew the BMW wasn't going to be popular just because of the way it drives, sort of more like an aircraft carrier than a race car. But the Porsche, I thought, still was a pretty good pick.
Yeah, I know, times have changed, at least the way these guys prefer to pick their cars. A lot of drivers preferring the Aston Martin or the McLaren, which I've kind of been slowly seeing in iRacing a little bit more of a shift from those, and really drawing a lot of the Porsche drivers away. Not too many people ran the BMW to begin with, so that's not too surprising to see only 1 lone BMW on here.
17th, 18th, 19th all together. Look at this battle. This is the 31, 07, and 80. Remember, the 80 had some issues on the opening lap. The 31 squeezes through. Here comes an attack on the Sector 5 car. And now a drag race up towards Variante Alta.
He's trying to get a run here. Couldn't quite get alongside the Aston Martin, but now going to have a look again towards Aquamena Rally. Not enough room to make a dive. He's going to settle back in line.
Chris Sherburne in the 07. Hangs on for now, and some pretty tight racing just ahead of them with the Kinetic Racing Aston Martin. That's the number 22, chasing Andrew Mickey, who we documented and dropped back the previous lap. Well, he started 16th. He's up 2 spots, but had dropped a few the last time around. Up front, you're not missing anything there. Still half a second between the 2 race leaders.
It actually did get a little bit closer at one point, and it's drifted a little bit back to where we were looking at before. So Crum's caught up there a little bit, but no real place to go.
Not even 10 minutes into this race, and just starting to see some drivers get spread out, but these two have not, Mickey and Thomas. This is for 14th overall. Both of these drivers in the AM category.
Yeah, Mickey made a mistake entering Tamburello, and that's why you saw him get so close to the driver in behind him in the Aston Martin. Ooh, and wide, and the dive for the Aston Martin. Almost spins out himself trying to avoid contact.
Yeah, that didn't work out quite so hot there. Now up towards the left-hander here. We'll look out for the AstroTurf on the outside of that corner. Spin behind. And that was, which car was that? That was the Sector 5 Blackball car, Chris Sherburne, who went for a loop.
Yeah, I'm curious what happened here.
It's probably going to catch the grass on corner entry. That's a pretty common thing right there. Watch that right rear tire.
Oh, yeah.
Just tags it. No damage, no harm, no foul. He'll continue, but it's going to put him back a little ways. Again, 2-hour race is not particularly long, but it's also not that short. You've got a couple of pit stops that you can kind of use to your advantage. You can figure out how to move yourself forward.
Yeah, you definitely need a pacer, so this is definitely not an all-out sprint. You can't push every single lap. You need to kind of reel yourself in a little bit. You guys, you keep pushing yourself, those mistakes are going to compound. You're going to have a miserable 2 hours ahead of you.
Here's the Penguin RC Simulations car. Sarah Robb behind the wheel. This is a great livery. We've seen different variants of this Penguin RC car over the years in the Sim Championship Racing Series Ferrari Challenge, but looks really good on the side of an Aston.
Yeah, beautiful paint scheme, and also catching up to Joey Atterbury in front. And at some point, going to probably make the pass, put herself up on the podium.
Yeah, Joey Atterbury is the driver on the podium right now in the PG-13 level threat level midnight, excuse me. So 1 second lead for the 888 at the moment. That, of course, is Mark Federa. Then it's Kurt Crum in the 88 behind. Followed by the number 11, the PG-13 threat level midnight car. Then Penguin RC Simulation, Sarah Robb. But Kurt Crum is really keeping Federa honest at the moment, I'd say. It's still only about a second gap. And paired with the lineup that 88 is going to have, the other car being Colin Daner. We know Colin's a very capable driver. Should be able to run that car back down. Unless Federa's teammate, that being Lars Wheel, is even quicker than he is.
Yeah, if you heard me going ooh a moment ago, I actually almost did it again because Andrew Mirky, Joshua Thomas, and Ryan Carwell all in a very tight battle. Carwell was getting into the back of Thomas, and Thomas to Mickey.
Yeah, Ryan Carwell is the number 71. That's the car right behind this teal and magenta car. And he's chasing the 22 just up the road. That's that blue Aston. And then Andrew Mickey in that number 86 Bombshell Racing Team McLaren.
Hang on, sorry, I'm going to take 1 second. There's a penalty being handed out.
55 of Murphy Nichols, big slide through Tamburello. And he'll lose a spot to the big TNRG car. The green Cayman that had it off in the opening moments of the race is kind of rebounded now up to 6th, continues the climb. And back in 17th place overall, the Grizzly TFR Sunset car, David.
Yeah.
Elnerowitz, go ahead.
I was actually just about to say, that car was the car that was given the penalty for contact, avoidable contact on lap number 1.
Yeah, this goes back to that crash that I think involved Ray Kingsbury. Ran Ray a little bit wide and ended up getting into the side of him and pushing Ray into the fence. So that didn't work out so well for them.
Thomas almost getting into the back of Mickey again. They can't avoid each other this race, it seems. Almost been contact into the hairpin just before.
And again, these cars all handle very differently. Go ahead.
Oh, for 3rd place, Battle Rob, a great run out of Minerali, can't quite go anywhere as Atterbury parked the bus, and here comes Robertson in the other Aston Martin. 3 Aston Martins racing down to Ravatsa as they go side by side.
Yeah, had left side tires in the grass on the downhill run, the right side tires in the grass for Sarah Robb, but through goes the Satellite Racing 64. That was a heck of a pass. Using every inch of the road. 3 Astons battling for 3rd at the moment. And I'm not convinced that this one is done. Sarah Robb all over the back of the 64.
And she got a very solid slipstream. Question is where to go. You want to go right, want to go left. A lot of drivers will defend the left, so she's going to have to go onto the right side. No, tries to juke back left and a little bit of a dive. And almost the green. Aston Martin plowing to the back of the driver in third place, number 11, as they went into Tamburello.
Car in pit lane, that's that number 80, serving the penalty for the avoidable contact. So looks like the Grizzly TFR Sunset team will be trying to dig themselves out of a hole until a little bit later in the evening. Penguin RC Simulations LLM Lone Star Sarah Robb runs P5, and look behind him, there's that 019 Cayman that had that big off in the Villeneuve chicane on the opening lap. That was Brian Boomsma in the AM class, started 4th, running 6th, but he only needs 2 more spots to gain back to where he started, and then he can try to move forward and gain some net profit on the afternoon.
Yeah, problem for him, though, is that there's about 4.5 seconds separating him from that group battling up ahead, so he's going to have to hope they get a little arms out. Maybe driver goes off the track or something to slow them down, because he's got a lot of ground to make up.
And again, one of the only drivers choosing the Porsche Cayman for the season, and that's a huge surprise to me. I would have thought that Porsche would have been a much more popular car, given its history in iRacing as being one of the nicer to drive cars. Maybe it's not the quickest anymore, but sometimes it's not about having the outright quickest car. It's about being the most consistent over the course of a 2-hour race. I'd argue that sometimes that requires a bit of a docile handling characteristic, which this Porsche has always had.
Yeah, I mean, we're working well, at least for the 019, up in 6th place. Definitely not shabby at all, just outside the top 5. And who knows, with some strategy, can get that car back up in the top 5. Still very early on.
Up front, the gap is closing just slightly. It's 0.6 of a second from Aston Martin back to the Bombshell Racing Team 88. Whoa, big slide by both of those cars on corner exit, getting after it. And that 3rd place fight is far from over. Joey Atterbury full of pressure from the 64 and 01 to the Villeneuve chicane.
Yeah, Robertson, I think, has a faster car than Atterbury, and obviously catching is one thing, passing is another. But if he can get past, I say there's a solid chance he can maybe make a push to try to catch the top 2, and I think that's why we're seeing him be so aggressive. We saw a pretty aggressive move back on Sarah Robb for that 4th place spot, and I think that's because he wants to get to the leaders as quick as possible.
Out to the outer edge of the rumble strip. And change in position here, Rob Powers in the 69 has just lost a spot to the Shift Esports car, Seth Rawls.
Yeah, and actually he let him on by because he just pulled to the right-hand side entering the hairpin and just let the Aston on by, so a bit surprised at that maneuver.
Andrew Mickey is catching Gary Thomas in the big DNRG car. I just now put together, I'm not sure if you did, I just now put together the meaning of this team name.
Is it PG?
What's that?
Is it PG?
Definitely not. But
okay.
I was reading that and I'm going, there's definitely something going on there, and I just figured it out in my brain. So consider that, yeah, well, that'll happen. Hour 45 to go, 15 minutes in, and the 88 and Triple A continue to lead. And for 3rd, as you mentioned, look at this battle side by side, the 64 and the 11 door-to-door into turn 1.
Quite literally door-to-door, almost dooring each other into the Tamburello chicane. And Robertson's going to get on through. Still Atterbury trying to get a decent run out of the chicane, maybe towards Villeneuve. He has a little bit of a run, but is he willing to make it side by side?
I don't know. Here he comes down the inside into the Villeneuve chicane. Took a swipe at it, couldn't get there, and we know that Sarah Robb is all over this. She wants a position as well.
And Atterbury went flying over the anti-cut curve. You got to be so careful. If you ride those the wrong way, you can launch your car off the track. As we saw there, he cut a huge amount of air, but was able to keep it going.
So with the exception of the 2nd place car, that being the 88 Bombshell Racing Team McLaren, the top 5 are all Aston Martin Vantage AMR GT4s, followed by a singular Porsche in 6th, then one more McLaren in 7th, another Bombshell team car, and then it's all Astons until 11th place. So it is really an Aston Martin-dominated race so far, Finian. Perhaps we could have expected that, seeing the entry list so heavily shifted towards the British manufacturer. But I guess I'm curious to see if having that strength in numbers is going to mean that make has a win. I think that 88 is looking probably one of the stronger cars, and just kind of biding his time running behind Mark Federa at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there really is no reason for Kirkrum to push the issue. Just put in some solid lap times to keep the car in that second place spot, right within about a second, 2 seconds back from the leader, ideally where you would want to be. So I think he's just trying not to push his stuff too far, but we're still seeing some battles between these guys back here. It looks like Robertson's starting to eke out just a little bit of a lead from Atterbury, and here comes Rob in behind in the 0-1 with the draft. Again, the slipstream, can she make the move?
Here she comes up the inside, door is open. And foot in the door, but not quite able to enter it there quite yet. It's up on top of the curbs to kind of scramble in behind, but making passes when your cars are so equal is an immense challenge. And let's talk about GT4 racing here for a second. We're racing cars that are pretty wildly different in terms of their construction, but when you're racing the same make and model car, there's not really a lot of BOP difference that's going to help you out. The Porsche, you know, does some things better than the BMW. The BMW does some things better than the Aston. But when you're racing an Aston versus an Aston, you don't have that advantage. It's all on the driver and the setup.
Yeah, you said exactly that. Oh, and also waiting on another penalty decision.
There's some more contact on the opening lap. That could have been the reasoning for that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and a 10-second penalty to the number 99 of Sam Harper for contact on the opening lap.
Oh, that's trouble for the unexpectedly large NRG built car.
Yeah, and actually right in behind Harper, I think the 25, if I'm not mistaken, ended up pitting, not pitting, but ended up making contact with the 18 Porsche that we saw go off the track earlier on. So I think there may be a penalty coming back to the 25. If I'm wrong, I do apologize. Just going off of what I was seeing, I only took a glimpse at it. I remember seeing red Aston Martin going on through.
Really like the look of this car. This is probably one of my favorite liveries in the field. It just, there's something about that sort of that slightly, you know, what's that? Not matte, but kind of semi-gloss. What's the material I'm searching for?
No,
but
you're asking the wrong guy here. It's kind of like a semi-gloss matte kind of mix. I don't know what the exact one.
There's a term for it. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. I just can't.
I know what you're talking
vocalize
about.
It.
I don't have words.
It looks.
Words are hard.
Really good. They are hard. They look really, really good. Meanwhile, back up in third, that 3-car battle for P3 is not going away anytime soon.
No, as long as the slipstream is a thing, it's definitely not. I think these guys are going to try to ride the coattails of Robertson, who's been putting in some decent laps. Last time by 151.5 for Robertson. Leaders 151.4. So about a tenth quicker. So he's keeping pace with the leaders. He's not losing any time.
So the 69 car, the Kinetic Racing car with Rob Powers, is trailing the 16 Shift Esports car. Oh, big understeer moment there. And that's where the BMW is going to struggle, is those transient maneuvers. It is the heaviest car. It's the most unwieldy car, making left to right or right to left transitions. But in a straight line, that's the car I want to have. There's only one of them in the field that is currently running basically mid-pack. So this is a car I'd look out to be strong later in the season. For this race, I don't think it's going to be particularly strong.
No, not quite. It's under attack from the 003.
Trouble. 55. Murphy Nichols has gone for a spin.
No.
Here's a look at it. Down into Minerale. It's a little bit wide, gets the tires on the grass. This is an extremely common area to spin, but was able to get off the track and continue without too much, well, I was to say too much, but no damage, so he'll continue.
Yeah, I think lost, one, maybe 2 positions. So he's going to have to recover from that, but could be worse.
Satin is the finish. Thanks, David. Satin is the thing we were looking for, and that was... What car was that again? That was the...
that was the 25.
Drive SVR car, yes. Satin. Yes. Such a satisfying thing to find the word that you... or be told the word that you couldn't find a little while ago. Again, the names and the 3-letter abbreviations here sort of broken by the AM and Pro additions to the last name. That will be sorted for next week. But in the meantime, if you're wondering, that lead initial is the driver's first initial in their first name. So Mark Federa leads the way in the 888. Kurt Crum behind him in the 88. Then it's Ryan Robertson in the number 64 running in third. Ram, Jam, Sam, Bam all in a row.
That's what I was laughing at.
And then there's Mam, Cam, Sam, and Ram. And Gam and Jam and Am. It's like a Dr. Seuss book or something out there.
Yeah, I guess that's one thing to note is that there are, looking at that, there are a lot of AM drivers up near the front.
Yeah, and you'll note again the AM cars are the orange-colored cars. There is some teams that are running a gold and a silver, and those cars would be classified as pro teams and not AM. So that's why you're seeing some AM not associated with AM class colors. There's the 31 running in 16th. They were just battling with Andrew Mickey in the number 86, and right behind them, the Bombshell Racing Team 71. This is the same team as the second place car, as well as the 55 with Murphy Nichols and the 86 of Andrew Mickey, all variations of the Bombshell Racing Team. Here's Gary Thomas chasing the Kinetic Racing 69, BMW, McLaren, Aston 1, 2, 3.
See a mix of manufacturers do get out here. The BMW's been under attack for a while. I'm McLaren Thomas trying to find some sort of way around. Now Justin Thomas also putting his head into the ring. See who's going to come out on top here. The BMW swerving just a little bit out of line. Not a huge swerve. And here comes the McLaren with the run.
Here it comes. Thomas to the inside in the green car. Can he outbrake into the first corner? Oh, not quite. He gets fully alongside. Now can he sweep through Tamburello? He's going to get run off by the Aston. Here comes the number 22 Kinetic Racing car into the picture as well. It's Kinetic versus Big DNRG right now, and man, that is very, very close.
Yeah, I was surprised the McLaren of Thomas almost got it done. Oh, he's going to make a dive up the inside of Tossa. Can he get it done? Going to put it tight to the apex and just slide front of the BMW just fit.
Yeah, the 69 slid the nose big time through Tossa. Just could not get the front rotated, and we saw the tires kind of scraping along the surface. He'll give up another position to Joshua Thomas on the other Kinetic Racing car, the Aston. And Gary Thomas will grab that position that he was fighting so hard for. Moving back up to fourth, Sarah Robb is still chasing Joey Atterbury, with Ryan Robertson now in P3 in the satellite car just up the road in the green Aston. These two now fight for fourth place, Atterbury and Lone Star. Or excuse me, Lone Star and Robb. Reading the bold text and not the unbolded text. Good thing I'm not an airline pilot. Good little scrap going on here. This is for 14th place. Rob Powers, Andrew Mickey. We just saw Powers lose a spot to his teammate. Now he's got Andrew Mickey closing in behind in the McLaren.
Yeah, he had a good start to this race, jumping up as far as, I think, just outside the top 10. I think he was riding in 12th, 11th for a while, after starting in 19th. But now looking like he's going to be slowly dropping down the order here as he's got a few fast cars approaching him.
Yeah, Mickey behind them, then Trent Brown with PG-13 Racing.
And up ahead, Thomas making a dive almost into the grass with Gary Thomas, similar to the crash between Bottas and Russell last year at that very same corner. It was off looking very similar to it. Here comes the run from the Aston. Going to make a dive at the inside. The McLaren not going to fight.
Yeah, Thomas backed out of it, but now as he's gearing himself up for a pass later, he hit the brakes so hard he actually kind of denied himself that opportunity behind the PG-13 Racing car. Trent Brown dropped the left side tires in the gravel and now has a look at Andrew Mickey in the Bombshell Racing Team car. So about half an hour in, about 25 minutes in rather, halfway to our pit window. And looking at the lead, it's only 1.5 seconds between the front two teams. And then it's 3 seconds back to Ryan Robertson in the satellite racing car. And Robertson's teammate is David Michael Nichols, so he'll be jumping in. And David Michael Nichols is the bronze in that silver-bronze lineup. So that'll be an interesting combination of cars, or interesting combinations of drivers. The 0-1, that is the Penguin RC Simulations car back in 5th. That car will change from Sarah Robb to Blake Reynolds. He is the Platinum in that Pro-Am lineup, which is why that 01 is a pro-classed car. So really interested to see how the 01 does when we have the Platinum-rated Blake Reynolds drop in that car later today.
And Raba on the back of Atterbury. No move just yet. Got close, though. They entered Tamburello, who actually may have a run here. Heading towards Villeneuve Chicane. It's a great run out of Tamburello. Now going to pull up along the left side. This is such a tricky thing to pull off because the outside car's got to give you some room. Not a whole lot of room, but makes the move.
Yeah.
Tries to dive it. Going to be put in the gravel, though.
Yeah, making the pass into the Villeneuve Chicane is kind of a zero-sum game because even if you get along the left side, you're still going to have to be kind of way offline heading into the right-hander. And there's gravel, and we saw cars already get eaten up over there today. Just not a risk I think I'd be willing to take at this stage in the race. I think I'd save my pass for somewhere else, but Rob managed to back out without any major dramas. Big conundrum back here. Andrew Mickey going backwards, and here comes Carwile, Trent Brown through the middle of all of it, and bring in the 18, the Gowan racing car. Josh Gowan behind the wheel.
Yeah, it started with Trent Brown trying to make a pass on the right side of Mickey, went to the left, and here's some action still from the other Aston Martin behind.
Mickey is getting swamped from either side, swamped and swarmed, whatever other SW words you like. Swamped, swarmed, and switched around.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's trying to make sure he doesn't lose another position. Otherwise, he would have lost 3 positions in half a lap. Still a possibility, though, as you see Gowan all over the back of Mickey. Can't quite get it done. Gets a decent run off the corner towards Akamurali, but I have not seen too many guys trying to make a pass down there.
No, it's just, this is a flow section that you want to keep momentum up so you can make a run into Variante Alta.
Yeah,
pretty decent run, and you see that Aston's Grunt is going to get it up close to Andrew Mickey. See if he makes a pass or if he stays in line.
And going to stay in line. I think a lot of these drivers waiting to the front stretch. The easiest place to make a pass.
And the Aston just looks so strong at this end of the racetrack, more so than the McLaren, which seems to benefit from those switchback sections. In the real world, the McLaren is very much the most street car. Whoa, contact, a big hit from behind. Gowan slams the rear bumper of the 86, but somehow Mickey held on to that. That was good driving.
Yeah, it's such a scary thing. You're under braking, a little bit hot maybe, and you just get punched from behind. I guess he's lucky it wasn't too much of a bigger hit.
Hit him pretty square.
Actually, no damage to the back of the the back of the McLaren, the Aston Martin. No damage to the front either.
That was lucky. These cars are pretty sturdy, and they can take a pretty decent hit. Here's the 25, the DriveSVR.com Aston with Cody Crosgrove behind the wheel and chasing the number 99 of Sam Harper. And these are 2 different classed cars. The 25 is in the AM category, the 99 in Pro.
Again, a 10-second post-race penalty coming to the 25. So, again, obviously still some racing to go, but at the moment they'll put him back in, I think, 10th place with that penalty applied.
Up front, 1.5 seconds between the 2 race leaders. Next closest battle is the one for 4th place. That's Joey Atterbury and Sarah Robb. These 2 have been going at it since the drop of the green flag. 30 minutes non-stop action between these 2.
Robinson trying to get a decent run off this corner. Actually, it's the best run she's gotten in this battle she's had with Atterbury, and I think for Atterbury, it's going to be hard to defend this because she's right there. Which lane do you pick to defend, outside or inside?
I'd pick inside here. It's predominantly a left-hand corner, but it looks like Atterbury is going to choose driver's right to protect. And through goes the 0-1 crossover here. That was a good thought, but I don't think it's going to pan out the way that he wanted.
Now let's see, he's going to get, I thought he had a good run out of there, but not quite enough to mount a counterattack, so Rob will hold on to 4th for now.
Yeah, even if you get to the left there, what do? You're just going to get stuck on the left in this particular turn there, then you're going to be run under the gravel like we've seen a couple times today. So you have to kind of think a couple corners ahead if you're going to do that. Here's some side-by-side, Kinetic Racing and Shift Esports, both Astons into turn 1. And looks like the 22 will get that spot.
Yeah, Thomas the man on the attack. He's going to mount some curbs as he heads over.
Crosses back over again. We've seen this happen a whole bunch. It's really, you want to do it. It's so enticing.
It's so tempting.
Yeah,
it's very tempting.
But it's just you have to be, think about maybe the next corner is a good spot to do it. I'd say you're much better off making a pass into Tossa than you are trying to force it into Villeneuve.
Yeah, I absolutely think right. I think in open wheel cars, it's a lot higher of a possibility.
Well, because someone has to back out, or
so
else you both crash.
Well, that, and also because they're a little bit more agile. These things are a little more tanky, so it's harder to make some fine, dives and corrections mid-corner.
A little more tanky.
Yeah, I mean, compared to Formula car.
So that's like the EPA highway estimated fuel economy, and then its tankiness level 0 to 10.
Yeah, the Volkswagens.
Yeah, exactly. Cody Cosgrove all over the back of Sam Harper. This battle has been sort of formulating here. The pressure is building, and Harper is the cork, and Cosgrove is the soda to the inside. That was a big dive there. They're going to almost bang doors. Wow, Harper had to do some avoidance there. Headlights flashing, certainly feeling a bit bullied there, I'd say.
Yeah, and again, that 25's already got a post-race penalty coming to it, so...
Yeah, well, hey, good on Harper, though, for jumping on the brakes and getting out of the way, because it's not worth crashing over. It's just, you might as well save the car and carry on a little bit later, get that spot back, and it looks like Harper will do just that.
Yeah, I can bet you that Harper's teammate, who is Tom Guess, is going to be yelling at the race official to take a look at that incident.
Well, turn your post-race penalty into a mid-race penalty really, really fast if you keep doing that. But again, the ABS in these cars, it's tempting to just throw the car in as deep as you can make it stick, but it'll let you get away with a lot more that you wouldn't be able to get away with in a non-ABS car. So you'll dive in and just be able to turn the wheel and keep slamming the brakes and make a pass that wouldn't be able to happen otherwise sort of happen.
Harper all over the back of the 25 again. Curious to see if he's going to do anything or just maybe kind of stick him behind the 25.
Well, I mean, you've already got karma on your side, right? So
right, yeah.
You could take a swipe back, and I don't think the stewards would open their eyes to that one. You do it again, they might start to pay attention. But there's a little bit of willful ignorance, perhaps, when you see someone get wronged, and then they do a little bit of a wrong back. You're more willing to let that one go. So,
I just heard the 25, I think, got another penalty or an extension of the existing penalty. That unrelated incident. It was not with these two guys, I don't think. Was it? No, it was not.
Well, certainly not going the right direction for these guys right now. They're passing cars, but losing the battle in the steward's office today, it seems like. But back to the fourth place crew, Joey Atterbury and the Sarah Robb car, Penguin RC Simulations LLM Lone Star team.
Oh, the the 15-second penalty I just heard, that was for the contact with the 60 Porsche that went flying off in the later half of the lap. So
gotcha.
That's a lot of time penalties adding up.
Had so many penalties, you have to just reverse the car off the track, go into the trailer, and and back the trailer up. You have to come back next week and try that one again. Here comes Josh Gowan in the 18 to the inside of Andrew Mickey into turn 1. This is a lunge up, and this has an uncanny resemblance to the Heart of Racing Aston that runs in the Pirelli GT4 America, as well as in the WeatherTech Championship in a GT3 spec car. Andrew Mickey throwing everything he's got at that car at the moment, though.
And Gavin trying to keep him in behind. Ooh, and a jump over the curb with some McLaren in behind. Ooh, and a brawl for position up ahead. Rawls versus Thomas for 11th place.
Thomas has got it. Rawls wants it, and bring in Gary Thomas. Joshua Thomas, the lead Aston. Gary Thomas in the chasing McLaren. 3-horse race for 11th place. Yeah,
we saw them exchange positions a few laps ago. So here's that battle reigniting potentially once again.
Wow. Using lots of curbing. And you talk about using your equipment in a race. Again, I wouldn't really consider this much of an endurance race by any stretch, but you do have driver swaps, so we'll consider that. But talk about taking care of your equipment. Here in iRacing, suspension damage is a little tricky to get on curbs, but you don't want to be hammering them like that every single lap. That was perhaps a little on the aggressive side. Speaking of aggressive, here's Atterbury back on Robb, and this is far from over.
Yeah, I was just watching him down the front straightaway. Robb is all the way up against the pit wall, trying to, I guess, dissuade Atterbury from getting any runs or doing anything, trying to make any move on the front straightaway. So They still stay the same, running about 8-9 seconds back from the leaders. And the leaders, again, have not talked a whole lot about them because not a whole lot's happened for their leading over Crum. Pretty much exactly as they were half an hour ago.
Yeah, leading by 1 full second over Kurt Crum, but that's not quite as large of a lead as it was a little while ago. So that lead is, ebbed and flowed within about 0.7 to 2 seconds. And some good battles formulating around the racetrack. We've been chasing everybody so far. We're about 40 minutes in, an hour and 23 minutes remaining. And looking ahead to the rest of the season and the schedule we've got, June 11th will be our next race at the Hungaroring, followed by Winton Motor Raceway on July 9th, Red Bull Ring on July 30th, Road America on August 13th, and September 3rd will be the Nürburgring GP. And you talked about a track where the BMW that Kinetic Racing is in will have the advantage. I think you're looking squarely at a place like Road America for that to be the successful date for them. They got that one circled on their calendar for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And in exchange for a position, you're seeing there Trent Brown giving up the spot for Ryan Carwile. Not sure this was a slowdown or just deciding to let the McLaren on by. It didn't really look like he cut the track at any point beforehand, so I guess just decided to yield to the McLaren, felt that he was faster.
Love watching the Astons scamper over the curbs. They just settle down really nicely once you get them airborne. They land and they just control themselves very well on the rebound. And that's probably why they're able to be so much more aggressive over those chicanes and violent transitions like we're seeing here. Kind of a big bad bounce for the 888 there, and here comes Kurt Crum, Bombshell Racing Team. Again, this is the battle for the lead at the moment.
And Crum looking a lot more aggressive. That gap's dropped down quite a bit. So I guess, we're coming up into the range where we may see these guys thinking of maybe making a pit stop in the next 10-15 minutes. And so Crum, I guess, is looking like he may be on the attack. I thought he was going to maybe wait for pit stops to get closer to make a move, but looks like he's waiting. He's thinking now is the time to go.
Well, I think getting ahead before the pit stop would be an important time to get ahead. Leave your other driver on defense instead of having to get on offense. I like that strategy a lot. But it's easier said than done. Just go ahead and go past him. That's certainly not an easy thing to accomplish. And again, the 888 is going to turn things over to Lars, who is the silver in the silver and gold lineup, this pro-classed car. And the 88 is also a pro-classed car, but and they're also a silver and gold lineup, and they're going to put their silver in as well, Colin Daner. So right now it's gold versus gold. It will soon be silver versus silver. And dropping off the ends of the curbs and up onto the front straightaway.
Yeah, actually, since we're talking about driver classifications, I guess we should take the time to explain how these drivers are given their classifications. If we can find it here. I had it pulled up at one point. Give me 1 second. They have a decently sized rule book. These guys spelled out every little detail.
Hold that thought because the leaders are battling. Here comes Kurt Crum on the outside into turn 1. Had to tap the brakes and will tuck back in line, but he had a great run into the first corner and just couldn't quite complete it.
Yeah, there you go. That was the first. I think that was the first attempted pass we've seen.
It certainly was. Yeah, and on the outside, just kind of gets crowded here a little bit. Couldn't turn in when he needed to turn in. Had to bail out, but I think he's quicker than the 888 at the moment.
Yeah, I think that was definitely clear from him making catching up on the track. And then battle for position here. Again, the BMW under attack once again. I'm actually surprised Powers has been able to hold. I thought he was going to drop down the order sooner, but he's been able to hold on to that 14th place spot for quite a while. That being said, though, Carwile all over the back of him. Here he goes to the left-hand side.
And takes a sweep to the left, and I think Carwile is going to complete this pass in the braking zone. The BMW, again, a little bit unwieldy on the brakes, so through goes the McLaren, and looks like Powers will tuck in behind, and then Trent Brown going to make this even worse for that BMW. And up about 6 spots for Trent Brown.
Yeah, and Brown was looking aggressive over the curves, is trying to making it look like he was trying to take advantage of the BMW running a little bit wide. Here he goes again. Maybe going to look up the inside here into Tossa, into the hairpin.
There it is. And give the spot for now. Nope, on exit, the BMW is going to throttle up, and that's where the power is going to be usable here, is accelerating up out of Tossa. And we'll re-clear Trent Brown. Also didn't help that Brown was kind of stuck right on the apex and couldn't throttle down when he needed to.
Yeah, I was going to say stuck him behind Nichols, couldn't throttle up, otherwise he would have hit him and spun the McLaren. That's the last thing you need is a time penalty. These guys head down to Aqua Minerale. Leaders up ahead. Kurt Crum getting a slipstream, not close enough this time by, but made up a huge amount of time in the slipstream.
Yeah, I'll have to wonder if this McLaren is aging better on the tires than the Aston is at the moment. It seems like the Aston is losing a little bit of pace in comparison. His last lap was a 151.2, but that's only 0.3 off his best. As the fuel burns off, the car is going to get a little bit quicker, but will it be handling quite as good? Last time by, Kurt Crum was a 151.4. That's actually significantly slower than his best, so that tells me that regardless of the tires burning off, Crum is feeling pretty comfortable right now because he's attacking a car that is slowing down less than he is. If that made any sense?
Yeah, a little bit.
Rupiratella, only 0.3 between the two leaders.
Ooh, up for 11th place, Rawls and Thomas side by side into Tamarillo.
Yeah, watch that right side rear tire. Seth Rawls was really close to it, and a big cross up there by the 22. Got his hands all sideways and might leave himself vulnerable here. Again, we've seen that pass. You see, looks like Rawls is going to bail out of that maneuver.
That's a tough thing when you enter that chicane towards the left-hand side. It completely ruins the flow for yourself throughout the rest of the chicane, and it's easy for guys in behind to try to set up and make a move back to our leaders yet again. Crum staying very close to the Aston Martin, and this is going to be key here when they head back to the front straightaway.
Yeah, watch on the brakes. So the McLaren closes down to 1 car length there in the first corner at Ravaza. The second corner is going to inch in a little bit. Look at the Aston accelerate off, uses all the racetrack, about 5 car lengths between them as they come up onto the front straight. But now is the McLaren a little bit stronger on the straightaway. It might actually be. You can see it here. It comes the McLaren, plus the slipstream added for that effect.
As he's got a really good run here. The Aston Martin going to the left side to defend. Kurt Crum looking to the right. Doesn't feel like he's close enough, and he's going to have to sit in behind it again. That key thing was the Aston Martin just getting off that final corner. Got off fantastically, and Crum, that McLaren not as good off that final corner and just lost so much time and had to make that up with the slipstream.
Yeah, I've heard this, that the Aston in the real world as well is not exactly the quickest car in a straight line of this group, and the McLaren is so fast in some instances, like it was at Nashville when these cars ran with GT America powered by AWS. The McLaren was so fast down the straightaways that everyone was angry because it was just it felt like it had another gear in it. Well, it does. It has a 7-speed gearbox, but it really is a quick car in a straight line.
Yeah, and should note also, too, for BOP, the league has given the Aston Martins a 10-kilogram increase in weight. That's 22 freedom units for those in the U.S. No other changes to any of the other cars, only the 10 kg increase.
A little bit more than that, looking at the way the running order is. If I had to suggest
20 kgs next month.
Yeah, exactly. Or Lewis Hamilton's watch collection in the trunk.
Ooh,
I think that adds about 50 kgs to the car. 0.4 between the two leaders as we close in 15 minutes to the halfway point. And jumping back a little bit deeper in the field, this is 15th. Rob Powers and Trent Brown. The 69 and the 31. Both of these cars are Pro Class.
Yeah, I've been working on them, been trying to work on the BMW for a while now. Hasn't found a way on through. Nichols still leading this little group.
Just ahead of them is Ryan Carwile. Yep. Nichols in the 55 is running 9th right now. And he just ran his best lap of the race, by the way, so he's certainly found something. So did the Sam Harper car and Cody Cosgrove. And a few others have run their best lap most recently.
Yeah, it's not too surprising. Sun's starting to set down. 17:57 in the sim. That's, I think, what, 5, almost 6 o'clock?
Yeah, we're down about 4 degrees. Yes, 17 hours is 5 o'clock, and 83 degrees Fahrenheit. The track temp has dropped a little bit. The cars are burning off fuel, so you'd expect them to run a little faster. And Kurt Crum just ran within 0.3 of his best, and the race leader just ran within 1/10 of his. For 15th. Look at this. Look at Brown all over the back of Rob Powers into turn 1, but didn't tuck out to make a pass. We thought better about making the move here. This is a tricky spot to complete it.
Yeah, I guess felt like he wasn't close enough, so again, just didn't want to risk it. We've seen a lot of these guys play a little bit more conservative in some cases, just because Again, still over an hour left. We're not halfway through this race just yet, so no point in risking your car this early on. We'll say, though, a battle heating up for fourth. Rob and Atterbury getting close to being at it again.
Way on the other side of the track. Here they are. Into Ravaza. This is going to be a big dive here if Atterbury decides to go for the pass. He does not.
He gets a decent run onto the straightaway. Almost nailing the DRS sign. Running so close to the right.
Yeah, again, this is Aston versus Aston, so I don't expect there to be a huge difference. The slipstream really is not an enormous effect here at Imola, but here comes Atterbury now with a little bit of slipstream that he had. Will pull even with Sarah Robb into turn one, but the overlap will not remain for the entrance to the corner. And back in 15th again, Trent Brown still behind the Kinetic Racing BMW. Now this has got to be a little frustrating at this point because he's been back here for a couple of laps now and keeps catching the 69 of Powers in the area where he can't capitalize. He got on throttle really early there, but look at the BMW pull away on the opening part of that. Just gapped him a couple of feet, and he could even the slipstream. It's not going to do anything for him until about here. We're doing 135 before that really felt effective. Here comes now the 31 of Trent Brown.
Yeah, he's trying to, but that BMW is actually starting to even now actually pull away just a hair before they enter in Tamburello. This is the best opportunity he's had, going to mount the curbs and shoot his way on past. Here comes the other Aston Martin in behind. Josh Gowan going to also move his way through, and Powers back into 17th.
That was lovely racecraft there by Gowan to see the door was opening and to just walk through it before it could slam shut. So Gowan will jump up to 16th place, and Rob Powers will slide back to 17th. Lost 2 spots in one corner, but it's still up +2 from where he started the race. Back to 4th place and quietly running in 3rd. We have not talked a lot about this 64 Finian, but Ryan Robertson is paired up with David Michael Nichols, who is the bronze in the silver and bronze lineup. This is an AM class car, leading the AM category by a whole lot. The 64 is 6 seconds back from the overall leader. The next car in AM is 27 seconds behind the leader. So that is a pretty phenomenal start to the race for the 64 team.
I'm sure they're going to be, they're probably not even thinking that. They're just looking at the leaders directly ahead, and they want to try to catch them. It's going to be easier said than done, though. But they've done a phenomenal, as you mentioned, they've done a phenomenal job getting this car in a very solid spot. Regardless of, where they finish in the top 5, they're leading the AM standing, so I'm sure they're going to be more than happy with that. And I was looking at the last lap times. This car also not too slow. In fact, ran faster than both of our 2 leaders, so he's slowly making inroads. Lost a little bit of time over the last half an hour that we saw him being in 3rd place, but it looks like he's slowly starting to reel himself back in.
Up towards Piratella, and again, the goal is to win the overall order here. Obviously, these are not separate classes in terms of they're always going to earn. They're earning completely separate points championships. That is true from a perspective of, well, I guess there is a separate points championship, but you want to win. There's no separate trophy for finishing 3rd. That's what I'm getting at. You want to win the race. They're all running the same kinds of cars. The only thing limiting where you're running is yourself. So you want to win the race. So yeah, Ryan Robertson here is not focusing on just extending his lead. He's focusing on running down the 2 cars ahead of him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because they're all earning points, the same amount of points for where they finish. Doesn't change in classes like you normally think of it, but they're being scored in 2 separate championships.
Yes, that's the important piece to that, right? Is you're not going to get 1st place points for finishing 3rd in this order. So that's what I was trying to get at. You put it a lot more eloquently than I did.
Which is normally the other way. You usually do a better job of wording it than me.
I'm a professional. Here's the battle for the lead into turn 1. Here comes Crum to the outside. Can he hold it this time through the 1st corner? He's going to get run onto the contact and crash, and the 888 spins into the gravel. Wow.
Going to try to get it fired back up and turned around. Going to lose 3rd place, maybe 4th and 5th here.
And is there any damage to the nose of the 88 on the McLaren? It doesn't look like it, but that was big trouble. And in a moment when it matters to be in the position that you're in, right before that driver swap, here is a look at it. I think Crum is going to get kind of run off course. Yeah, really didn't have a lot of room to work with there, Finian, in my eyes.
Yeah, I kind of see the same way. It looks like the 888 thought that Crum had pulled out, but he didn't, and he still kept it in there, although it had a very compromised entry into the second part of that corner. So,
yep, and did get the right front contacted as well, just minorly. Here's a battle 3 abreast into turn 1. Look away for 2 seconds, and you're going to miss all this. Into turn 1, here comes the 22 around the outside, slips and crash.
Oh, wow. Back-to-back crashes in Tamburello on cars parked in the middle. Oh, and a hit from Josh Gowan.
Man.
Going to take some damage.
It's all popping off here right before the pit stops. Into turn 1, here's what this one looked like from up above.
Yeah, and 3-wide definitely not going to work. 2-wide definitely possible. Just looked like, oh, went in the grass, got loose, and clipped the other Aston Martin.
Yeah, but then right here, nowhere for the 18 of Gowan to go. He gets a piece of it all at the end. But again, I don't think there's a ton of damage, a little bit to the nose of the 22.
Yeah, the 22 actually got most of that damage from contact with Josh Gowan as he was working his way through the incident scene. And race control going to be busy reviewing 2 incidents back to back.
Well, maybe they're not watching the pit speed limiter. Well, they're all busy doing that. You can get away with something while they're busy. But here's Andrew Mickey, Seth Rawls for 15th place, having gained a couple spots from the trouble that they had ahead of them.
Yeah, trying to keep Rawls in behind as Rawls trying to make up ground.
Return to the racetrack for Ray Kingsbury, 26 laps down.
Wow, that's admirable. coming from that far back, I don't think he's really in has a chance of making up too many positions.
I am not exactly an engineer, but if I
didn't you get a degree in computer engineering?
This is not a computer. I mean, I guess it is.
Well, it's engineering.
This is missing a component that I would deem probably fairly necessary to go quick. So I'm not sure how long he'll last out there without this car being relatively undrivable. Here's Seth Rawls now on Andrew Mickey down the front straight.
Yeah, this actually surprisingly got ahead of him before they came out of the final corners. He got at least try to get alongside, but McLaren actually pulling away.
Yeah, again, the McLaren's got the legs on the straight, and even if you had the slipstream in the Aston, if you pull out, it's like hitting a brick wall. That thing has got the cross-section of a refrigerator in comparison to the low and slippery McLaren. So I think that car is the car you want to have on the straight lines in terms of the power and drag advantage it has over the Aston.
I like that comparison. Cross-section of a refrigerator.
I mean, in comparison to the McLaren, by no means.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
I was going to say the actual refrigerator is the BMW. You can see in the background a lot bigger.
Oh, there's a little bit of contact there.
Yeah, everyone's getting their elbows out. I think they figured it was an hour of clean racing. It's time to get the elbows out and make some enemies here.
Well, has anybody made the dive to pit lane just yet? There's been a couple. No.
I think any that were there, I think were for penalties or something else related. But here we go for 3rd place. Atterbury making a move on Rob, trying to look to the outside into Tamburello. We've seen a few contacts happen here, and they make it through for now. Atterbury trying to get a decent exit out of the complex towards Villeneuve. Not quite enough, as we've seen time and time again. Ooh, a late dive to scare Rob.
Yeah,
doesn't quite work.
That's just a distraction tactic. It worked on Finian. Thought it was going to happen there, but it didn't.
Hey, I've seen crazier things.
And just behind, here comes the 888. Now, remember, we saw the contact just a couple minutes ago with Mark Federa getting the boot from kind of shoving Crum a little bit off track. But Mark Federa still is running very competitive lap times. How do I know? Well, he just ran his best even moments. Oh, big slide in front of him. The 11 car runs wide and give the spot to the 888.
Oh, yeah, and wow, it was a great save. We got to take a replay of that.
Whoa, we got to go back a little further to catch exactly what happened here.
Yeah, it was very similar incident we saw earlier in the race. Just stepped out too far to the right here, caught some grass right there, and did a fantastic job holding on and not clipping the Penguin RC car up in front.
Now battling Federa into Mariante Alta, and will take the spot back. That was a pretty strong stretch. Move the 11 back into position. That's just going to frustrate Federa after leading the vast majority of this race.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think he's going to be too happy with a camper. Again, still waiting on what race control deems is the perpetrator for that incident.
So, so Kurt Crum has a little bit of a problem.
And that is.
His co-driver, Colin Daner, has lost power and hasn't been able to get it back on. And Kurt will have to park the car before the 75-minute mark. So somewhere, as soon as he runs out of fuel, he will have to leave the car sitting in the pits and hope his co-driver can find the power to turn on his computer and jump in here.
Oh, that is not ideal.
You need some adversity, looks like.
Well, there it is. Oh.
Yeah, but I think
more adversity?
Certainly the 11 car. Through the first couple of corners. I wonder if he slips here or he must have had a slowdown from somewhere else.
I'm trying to look at where he
hit the brakes and let the 888 back by. It could have been that final corner. That's the common spot to get it. Even if you're up on the berm on exit, it'll give it to you.
Yeah, I was going to say, he took a decent amount out of it. Again, I haven't been around here since they revamped the
It's annoying, I'll tell you that.
So I mean, I'm not too surprised. He took a decent amount where it's, in the realm possibly where I think that's where he got it up. I guess might as well get rid of it at some point. And that's the hard thing, too, is you want to try to figure out where to give it up. Seth Rawls battling with Rob Powers. Powers actually working his way on buying the BMW on the front straightaway entering Temperley, and Friend joining in from behind. And there's a bunch of cars right here.
Yeah, that's the Grizzly TFR Sunset car right behind the 80. No change up front. Still Kurt Crum leads by 4.7, and it's 5.6 back to Sarah Robin third. This is your best battle, Kinetic Racing versus Shift Esports, Rob Powers versus Seth Rawls. Closest battle on the racetrack at the moment.
Grizzly car trying to get back in contention. Remember, got a black flag drive-through all the way on, I think, like lap 5, something like that. Many laps ago, is trying to make his way back up through the order, where he hands it off to his teammate, Trevor Bobrovsky.
And car on pit lane, Joey Atterbury will hit pit road and be one of the first takers, and is in the box. So Atterbury will exchange, and it will be Nikhil Kopkar that will jump in the number 11. So that was our first driver change that we have seen today. At the 1 hour, 1 minute, and 40-second remaining mark, there's another car in behind that appears to be the number 55. And Morgan Burkhardt will jump in for Murphy Nichols. And that is all, it seems, that have jumped in on this lap. Going back up to 6th place, Cody Crosgrove and the Sam Harper car, the 25 and 99 battle for 6th.
These guys got to know each other pretty well. They've not been separated from each other. Rob Powers in for his pit stop.
Yeah, so Powers will be exchanging that 69 car, handing it over to Austin Espedy, who we've seen before in the Indy Elite Series. So Austin will jump in, and he will jump in the M4 and bring that thing to the end of the race. Meanwhile, Andrew Mickey defending from Seth Rawls and David Melnerowitz.
Oh, we'll get it at some point.
Melnerowitz. There it is. We got it. Melnerowitz. Yeah, we got it.
He's been busy just trying to find a way on by, because he's definitely the faster car. But like I said earlier, catching's one thing, passing's another. Can't find a way around Rawls, because Rawls is all over the track trying to find a way around Mickey. And Rob Powers, you saw, bow out of this battle to exchange position, and a big time from Rawls, almost turning Mickey into Paratella.
Yeah, couldn't slide a piece of paper between their bumpers there at the apex of that corner. That was a bit dicey. Melnerowitz right behind the 16 now, climbing up.
Oh, here comes Rawls. Great run out of Aqua Minerale. Now towards Variante Alta. Going to be on the inside preferred lane.
Side by side here, and Mickey's going to, I think he's going to preserve here and back out, and he will. And looks like Melnerowitz is going to try to go around the outside. Couldn't get the power down, though. And
flashing the head, I think some netcode. Saw his car get thrown to the right side as if they made contact, but there wasn't any visual contact.
Looks like Complex SimWorks is on pit lane, the number 21 of Christian Ost. He will turn things over in his number 21 to teammate, looks like Matt Kingsbury should be jumping in this car. And indeed.
Yeah, quiet day for the 21 car. Not too much going on. I guess typically what you want, especially considering everyone else has had an interesting day. in some way, shape, or form.
Trent Brown out of the 31 PG-13 racing car, and Paul Gibson will jump in. Mel Narowitz is on pit lane.
Busy pit lane.
And Andrew Mickey is on pit lane. Mel Narowitz is going to turn things over to his teammate in the number 80. That will be Vavrovsky behind the wheel. And looks like the Bombshell Racing Team car of Andrew and Eric Mickey. That will change over to Eric Mickey, brother. Joshua Thomas jumps in the 22.
Kurt Crum, race leader in.
All right, now this is a critical moment here because if Colin Daner does not have power, and it'd be shocking if it was restored as quickly as that.
No, he's not joined the server back
so
again.
this is just going to be a temporary retirement of this car.
I guess the best thing would be to just get out on track and just kind of keep running. I mean, nothing really much else you can do. You do have 75.
What's the penalty for not exchanging drivers?
I would imagine a DQ because it's through iRacing's system, so I think that just DQs you, right?
Yeah, so that wouldn't be any better than just sitting there.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
That's pretty much the situation.
The only really call, the best call, I guess, is really just run out there for another 13-ish minutes and just kind of hope for the best. Say hope and a prayer, and hope his power comes back.
Kinetic Racing, Alex Sheridan is jumped into the number 60. That car exchanged previously. No, they haven't made a pit stop yet, have they? We haven't even looked at this car yet today, have we?
No, we did see this car. It was spinning out to the side of the track right here.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and since then has been stuck back there.
It's been a very quiet evening for them, that's for sure, besides that. Kurt Crum is returning to the racetrack now, so I guess he's just going to try to run it as far as he can and try to just hope that the power is restored. There is the number 16 Shifty sports car putting Crum a lap down. And the race leader is now Ryan Robertson. But running out of fuel at this point, you're going to only have a couple laps remaining on your tank at this point. There's the 55 with, that was Morgan Burkhardt behind the wheel. And here comes the 64, the race leader into pit lane. This is Ryan Robertson. He's going to turn things over to David Michael Nichols.
Yeah, just about to say.
Yep, Sarah Robin in the 01. She'll turn things over to Blake Reynolds, who is the platinum-rated driver in this group. And I'm really interested to see how this car does because there's only a handful of platinum drivers in this field. Paul Gibson is one, as is...
just them two.
Is that all? I thought I saw one
just
more.
them two.
Just those two.
Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting driver lineup to see if that platinum rating will really do you a lot of good here.
Yeah, and actually, so I didn't get to say this earlier because we had a battle position for the lead. So the way they actually gave out the driver rating, so if you have under 2,000 iRating, you're a bronze. If you have 2,000 to 3,000, you're a silver. 3,000 to 4,500, you're a gold. And over 4,500, you're platinum. And we know how few drivers have above 4,500. So that it's getting into some really good drivers. So that's why we're so hyped to see what happens here when we get some platinum guys in these cars and see what they can do, stretch their legs. Because still got a lot of racing left.
Edward Shelley jumps in the 019 for Big T NRG. And out goes the 64. David Nichols behind the wheel. There he is in the Nemesis lab car. And Big D NRG is on pit lane. Garen Batten will hop in.
Car. I just got...
Yeah. I asked you earlier if you got it, and I think you said you did.
No, I didn't. I was thinking of something else. I don't want to forget what I was thinking.
You just have to say it fast. Big D energy.
Yeah, that.
Well, we were all 12 once. Kinetic Racing on pit lane in the number 22. Joshua Thomas was in this car. We'll see who they change over to. That should be that should be Matt Chalker jumping in. They're supposed to be number 61.
Oh yeah, no.
On timing and scoring.
Actually, hang on. Where was? Which car was that? Sorry, that we were looking at.
The 22 in iRacing, the 61 on the entry list.
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing. So remember how we saw Team Matt Chalker?
Yes.
I think he might not be able to race.
Oh, because he joined in the wrong team.
Because he joined as his own team.
Yep.
and I don't think iRacing will let you join another team
Now,
after that.
there were also
So-
penalties that were supposed to be, that will be enforced for having incorrect numbers and things of that sort as well. So that's one of those things you got to check before you join team sessions is, are my numbers correct? And I bet you it's because, you know, the guy that registered the team didn't actually join the server, blah, 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 blah. But you end up with all those mistakes, and it will cost you. So, after pit stops, I think everybody has come on down at least once by this point. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Let's run through the order as it stands. So, top of the order right now is the Bombshell Racing Team Odin car, Kurt Crum, who, again, is waiting for his co-driver to restore power to his home so he can jump on and take this car to the checkers. Second place is the Satellite Racing GT14 with David Nichols behind the wheel, the 64. Then it's the 01 Penguin RC Simulations LLM Lone Star car, Blake Reynolds, the platinum-rated driver. He runs in third. Lars Wheel behind in the 888. He runs in fourth for Sustin Martin M. Plower, powered by Radio Baco. Then it's the PG-13 level midnight car, and these cars are battling for position in turn one.
And the 11 car on the attack on the 888. Machine trying to gain a position here, and we've seen this time and time again. Does anything happen? And nope.
Right out to the edge of the road. Lars takes the left sides all the way to the gravel.
Yeah, this race is going to get really interesting. It doesn't look like it on paper, but, I mean, we know that the 88, he's going to have to retire very soon. He's only got, I think, about 7-8 minutes before he's over his drive time. And so he's going to have to pull off soon. That leaves the lead going to the 64. And then they're all fairly close. We got that platinum driver, Blake Reynolds, sitting in the 01. He's going to be trying to his best to catch back up. We have the AAA, who's been leading most of this race, sitting behind. He's also trying to catch him. So we got a lot of the Aston Martins closing in on each other. And it's going to be interesting to see which one of the Aston Martins comes out on top.
Yeah, here's Nikhil Kopkar battling Lars in the 888 for fourth place, and this is going to be a battle that I think will continue for a while. Briefly checking in on the 11th place, Big D NRG, Garen Batten, and PG-13 racing car Paul Gibson battling for 11th place. Here's Tossa side by side.
And Gibson big dive to the outside, trying to make a move happen, can't quite get there.
And again, when you're right behind someone, you want to cheat over to the right just a little bit on corner entry here to Piratella. But right there, that's exactly what I was about to say, is don't do that. I was literally about to say that you don't want to put your right side tires in the grass when you're chasing somebody, and that is commentator curse, and I'm actually proud of myself for recognizing that was about to happen right here. Yep, well, Paul Gibson, and he's one of the platinum drivers, isn't he? So that was an uncharacteristic mistake.
He's going to make more work for himself to do to try to get that car back up in position.
Sheridan on pit lane, MTEC Racing MTEC car.
It's the number 60. Not sure. They've been sitting in there for 4 minutes. Not sure why.
No driver in the car at the moment.
Let's see. How are they doing? Are they up? I think they're also having a driver issue.
Unfortunate, but this is the kind of things you got to sort out, right? I mean, some of it comes down to just luck at this point.
Yeah.
So that certainly doesn't help. But just like having a brake failure or something else happen to you in an endurance race, you can have internet or other related means. Here's Nikhil Kopkar again, all over Lars Wheel for fourth place into Akmenarale, the exit, all the way out to the curb. And Edward Shelley is just behind, and they are very tight.
Yeah, that was Ray Kingsbury. I thought it was a car for position in behind. Ray Kingsbury sliding, probably due to the lack of the rear wing. Not doing him any favors.
Love watching. There's something about GT4 cars, and this is true of the TCRs as well. I never get sick of watching these two classes compete in iRacing. There's just something about the way the cars move across the surface, how competitive and aggressive you can race. I just never get sick of the GT4 and TCR classes. I really, really enjoy them, and I'm glad that we get to watch them this season. I've been enjoying myself so far. We're an hour and 10 minutes into a race, and we've still got battles all over the racetrack.
Yeah, I think it's a really good speed of car for sim racers doing a change of position there. The 01 already catching up to the 64. Wow, I wasn't expecting that gap to close on that quickly, but here we are.
Yeah, poor lap.
Actually, I think there must have been a big mistake from the 64.
Yeah, poor lap for David Nichols. That was a 1:53.469, so he dropped a couple seconds in that singular lap. So we'll see if he can get back up on the horse and run the 0-1 back down. But, we're going back to talking about the GT4 cars. They just always race really well, Fiddy, and they're never a disappointing car to watch.
So looking at Lars Wheel, how do you say it? Sorry, Lars.
I said wheel, and he said that was right, and then I was nervous because I didn't remember how I said it at the time that he said it was
wheel,
right.
Okay.
So
wheel. Okay.
Sure.
Wanted to make sure. Okay, we'll go with that. Lars
I'm not
Wheel.
sure, but we're just gonna roll with it.
Cup car in behind, trying to find a way around, as he's been trying to do since these cars have gotten back out on the track, and especially considering that there's that change for position, the 0-1 up ahead. Potentially, it's a chance to break away from the 64 unless Nichols can hold on.
Oh, 888 slid a little wide, and contact there on corner exit. I think they had a bit of a moment. Let's go back and right on board with the number 11.
If not, they got very close. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the 888 kind of blows the entry here. Then not really a whole lot that Cup car could have done there. Hit the brakes a little harder, but that's not really on him if you mess up the exit. Here's Vavrovsky and Eric Mickey going at it.
Yeah, and actually Vavrovsky managed to make the pass on Mickey, I think actually heading to this corner just before, so was able to get done and get past again. Still making up from that black flag earlier in the race. Was one of the only drive-through penalties. There are a few post-race penalties, I think, that are being handed out, so had to come down in the race, make it up. I honestly prefer to have the penalty in race, because then you can at least try to make it up on track. So still a lot of work to be done in the 80, sitting in 16th position for now.
So with 47 minutes to go, Kurt Crum is going to be running out of opportunities for Colin Daner to get back in, and he was in the comments here saying that all he can do at the moment is watch, and that's a frustrating feeling, especially when you are in position to win this race. I mean, they're leading by 12 seconds naturally.
Yeah.
They had a little bit less time on that pit stop because of the lack of driver change, but they were already leading because of the contact they had with the 888 that put themselves on the offensive there.
If only iRacing had a mobile version.
Whoa, slip.
Whoa.
As I was saying. iRacing Mobile coming to... they already did that as a April 1st joke a couple of years ago. I'm sure Colin Daner wishes it was real, I'll tell you that. If you're just joining us, you're watching the MTEC Sprint Series here on Sim TV, the first round of several this season. The timing and scoring, a bit of an error with the naming here, so that's why everyone's got PRAM at the end of their three-letter abbreviation. Well, they'll be sorted out for the next round on June 11th. We have had a couple of lead changes. Kurt Crum has taken over from the 888. That was that had the lead early, but there was some contact in turn one. They've since exchanged positions, and now the 88 running out of time because his teammate is no power.
Yeah, I was going to say he's coming in now. He had to come in, and, well, 88's going to be out of this race for now, and he's going to drop all the way down the order. I think probably back to around 20th, 21st. Not sure exactly where he's going to end up, but 88 car is done for today.
Yeah, likely 21st place. He won't finish dead last, even if Ray Kingsbury finishes this race. Here's for third, the 11 car. Retains the spot. This is getting close, though.
Yeah, I was going to say he's actually just gotten himself past, dived it to the outside of the corner. Here comes the 888, Sustin Martin. I'm waiting for the one time someone's going to make that move. You know, that's going to happen in the last lap. Someone's going to make that move, make it side by side.
Well, we saw it on lap one and it didn't work out, so if they were behind
that means it's going to work on the final lap.
Exactly.
That's how it works.
That's precisely what that means, is if something doesn't work, it will definitely work later, even if I do the same exact thing as the guy that did that and crashed. English. Oh, boy. Michael Marlowe says Weil. Lars Weil, I believe is how that's said. Thank you, Michael. And again, to answer why the 88 is out of the race, co-driver has no power at home right now and is forced to retire the car because he will be disqualified should he stay in the car until the very tail end. Big slide by the 888. Sorry, Finian. Big slide by Lars Weil on corner exit. He gathered it back up, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's just so frustrating, knowing there's nothing you can do. You're leading the race, and your teammate, nothing he can do either. It's not his fault for the power going out, but as you saw, the 888 taking big chunks over the curb. And the 88's also going to be probably annoyed because the car that he made contact with and went out of the race, that car is retired now, and now he's sitting back and forth out of the lead.
I think there's something to that, right? If if someone hits you and you lose positions, and now they don't even get anything from it, they don't even win the race because of it. They still finish last, or at least if you're going to crash me, at least have something go right for you. But unfortunately, there's nothing that they could have done about that. Just bad luck today. Here's battle 71. This is the Bombshell Racing Team Thor team. Brandon Hageman and Tiva Vrosky and Eric Mickey all battling. 3 McLarens into Variante Alta.
Vrosky trying to make a move. Wasn't quite there. McLaren versus McLaren.
Grizzly TFR Sunset. This car has had a heck of a day so far. Started things off with an incident and then a penalty, and now battling up to 15th. This car started up in 8th, I should say. And it's been all over the order this afternoon.
Yeah, Vrosky up, arguably the faster of the 2 drivers in that car, so expect to see it climb up the order. Still some distance to climb, though, as he's going to get a run here. Really solid run down the front straightaway.
Side by side across the start-finish line.
It actually cleared him.
Good run. Here comes Eric Mickey as well. Big time. Wow, he was way late to get on the brakes. He will take the spot, and Hageman will give him the position.
I think Hageman is deciding to yield out there, just let those 2 go on by. I think the 80 and the 86 are pro teams, or pro cars, sorry.
18.
Yeah, I think they're both pro, so I think that's why he let them on by. 71 deciding to stay
86,
out of that.
Yes. Checking in on a couple drivers that have dropped out. Again, the 60 car, the Kinetic Racing car, is out, as is the number 22 Kinetic Racing car and the 88 of Kurt Crum.
Yeah, I think the 22, I think that was with Matt Chalker. He couldn't get into that car, right? And that was that issue. 60, not sure what happened with Sharon. I think a similar teammate, some sort of issue there. No other driver joined the server. Kingsbury we saw making contact earlier out of the session, so lost 3 cars. Not a whole lot of attrition, which has been really nice to see. A lot of clean racing.
Headlights flashing from Lars Weil onto Nikhil Cup car. And all over the back of David Nichols. This is a battle for 2nd place. And 40 minutes to go. Now, this is 40 minutes as a sprint race, as a true sprint race. And you're kind of reestablishing your positions. We only have 5 seconds between our leader, which is now the 0-1 with Blake Reynolds. He's the one of the 2 platinum-rated drivers in this field. David Nichols is behind. This is the battle for 2nd you're watching right now. That 64 is the green car in your shot. So this is a pretty critical position because whoever wins this battle is going to be able to attempt to run down the 0-1. And again, I'm impressed with the 64 considering this is an AM team effort. And here comes the 11, one of the pro team efforts to try to take it to the 0-1. This is going to be awkward.
Oh, and a hard charge by the 11. Going to throw it into the 64, making contact. Here comes the 888. Sustin Martin, where does he go in all this?
Yeah, he's going to try to grab this position as well. There was a little bit of a door bang there into the chicane, but I don't think it's going to cost anybody anything. But here comes the 888 up the outside now into the braking zone. And he'll grab 1 spot from the 64 and set his sights on the 11. And in that, the leader gained 3 seconds.
Wow.
On this group.
That's going to be hard to overcome. I thought there might have been a chance someone can try to reel in the 0-1, but at this point, that's going to look less and less as that gap expands.
Now David Nichols in the 64 on the back of Lars Weil into turn 1. Right out to the edge of the road goes the 888. In terms of why Colin Dahner's power is out, I do not know that answer at this time.
Sabotage from another team.
Yeah, it could be going to that level.
from the 888.
Breaking the grid down or something. Yep. Yeah, they're pulling the plug outside.
Yeah, just an unfortunate turn of fate. It happens in sim racing. We don't have engine failures or mechanical failures. We have internet issues.
I do know that the weather is pretty gross on the East Coast today. I'm in Chicago. It's very, very nice outside where I am, but I know on the East Coast it's been kind of crummy, so someone could have hit a telephone pole or any of those things that can cause problems. 8 seconds from the leader back to Nikhil Kopkar in second. That's the black number 11 that you have in the center of your shot. Then back another position is Lars Weil in the 888, who was the leader for a whole bunch. This car led 25 laps in the early stages. We're on lap 43. It gives you an idea how much this car has spent up front tonight.
Yeah, and unfortunately, going to be sitting in third. At least going to try to see if he can get second here. Lead's going to be a tough cookie with less than 40 minutes remaining in this race, try to catch back up.
So battles have begun to fizzle. Is that what the word I was trying to use? Is fizzle a word?
Yeah, fizzle's a word.
Hold on, that's hilarious. Oh, it totally is a word.
Like, soda.
Why did I think it wasn't a word?
Soda fizzles up top.
I said that word, and I was like, that's not a word. It totally is a word. That's such a just bizarre word.
No, you're okay, because we still got a broadcast after this.
No. This day is not going so well, I don't think. I can't believe... All right. Fizzle. It's such a strange word. I've never realized how weird that word is until I just said it right there, right now.
Well, Kyle has an existential crisis. Exchange for position between the 31 and the 18. Paul Gibson moving up a spot.
He's the other platinum-rated driver in this. Well, we've got a platinum-rated announcer and a tin-rated announcer. That would be me today.
Yeah, I mean, Gibson still trying to make up from that spin we saw him do in Paratella after dipping a wheel off.
Yeah, here's Nicholas Gowan in the 18, jumping in for the Gowan racing car. And they have gone effectively nowhere after an hour and 15 minutes of racing, hour 20. 13th and 13th started in running.
And actually going back up to Paul Gibson, that car is the biggest mover of the race. Started back in 22nd, all the way up into 12th.
Yeah, plus 10. Took them a while to get there, and there's still a lot of progress left to make if they want to have a top 10. They've got to make up...
Well, we got the two cars right in front of them, right there. Wow. There's the Austin Speedy in the BMW and Garen Baden in the McLaren.
By a lot of ground, I meant half a second. Big D NRG car, Garen Batten running in P10, that 003. That's the green McLaren. And this is actually your closest fight on the racetrack at the moment, the 003 and the 69. 4 cars, actually, 11th through 14th, all in this scrap.
10 through 13th.
Thank you.
Yeah, speaking of 14, though, Varoski's there. You can see him coming over the hill. He's 9 seconds back from this group of cars.
Yeah, this is T. Varovsky, as you mentioned, in this car.
Flying over the curbs.
Yeah, net -6 today. It's been a struggle, and they'll certainly look forward to the next round to sort of make up for poor round this time. The Hungaroring is the next track on the schedule, followed by Winton Motor Raceway, Red Bull Ring Road America, and the Nürburgring GP in our 6-round championship in 2022. Back up to the battle for 10th, though, because I think this one is going to get more exciting before it gets calmer.
Well, let's hope it's not too exciting. We've seen a lot of exciting things happen down in this corner particularly. And as the minutes wind down, it's probably going to get only more interesting as guys get more desperate.
Austin Espedy is probably driving the most polar opposite vehicle to the one he was driving only less than a month ago, less than a couple weeks ago in the Indy Elite Series Indy 500. Went from the Dallara IR-18 to the largest land transport vehicle on planet Earth, that being the BMW M4. They actually built the Antonov 225 to carry this car.
And we saw right there that giant car almost got passed by Paul Gibson in behind. Almost actually ended up hitting him in the back on the straightaway as he made a last-second dart to the inside.
Here's Gibson again closing in. Really good run through Akmanarale, now up towards Variante Alta. And I think Ravaza is the corner he's got circled on the track map right now is the spot where he's going to make that pass. Brakes a little early and will try to build a run. Oh, look, a little tight. Didn't quite get to the apex on the exit. That's going to slow him down just a touch. 20 laps to go, which will translate to about 34 minutes remaining in this race.
Starting to wind down here. Nothing really going to change in the foreseeable future in the front. Blake Reynolds essentially running away with a gap now over 9 seconds back to second place.
Yeah, it's just that car was not really much in the, I mean, it wasn't not in the picture. It was in the top 5, but it didn't look like it was going to be a race-winning car. But throw the keys over to a platinum-rated driver, and certainly it will be in the mix. And by in the mix, it's already in the oven and getting baked.
It's a good one. I gotta give it to you.
It's not a good one. Don't say it's a good one if it never use it ever again.
It's pretty good.
No, it's not. It's the worst
So
thing I've ever said.
Use that on your next TV commercials.
It's definitely not. Hey, by the way, speaking of that, if you're in the New Orleans region, you might hear me on TV. For the.
Oh, are you actually going to be on TV?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were only on TV for the commercial. There you go.
No. That's what I meant. The commercial.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy, it's going downhill really fast. I voiced over a commercial for the Fanatec GT World Challenge America powered by AWS Championship.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is. And you might hear it if you're in the New Orleans area.
Is it only going to be in the New Orleans area?
I would expect that to be the case. So 32 minutes remaining. Morgan Burkhardt now closing in on Edward Shelley. This is the Big T NRG car, the 019. Battle for the top 5.
Yeah, I was going to say, both these cars have had a fairly quiet drive, like just inside the top 10. With some attrition, they've kind of moved themselves further up the order. And now here they come to, as you mentioned, fight for that last spot in the top 5. That McLaren eating the curbs.
It took a big bite there. Through.
Almost rolled over the car.
Certainly got airborne with the left sides and the rights. Now into the Villeneuve chicane. All over Edward Shelley. This is a pro driver versus an AM-rated driver, too, so that will be part of the difference.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Shelley is taking the curbs a lot less aggressively, leaving a lot of space, and meanwhile, Burkhardt, we see just absolutely throw the car into the corners to try to make a position. Or time, I should say.
And that will pay off at a place like this. You can get really aggressive, and it will reward you for it. There's some places, though, that it will bite you. Garen Batten and Paul Gibson trading spots into turn number 1. That is for 10th place, and this 31 car is absolutely flying right now.
Ooh, and Speedy trying to make his way on through as well. Had he got on the brakes, though, to avoid contact.
So Paul Gibson's next victim would be Matt Kingsbury, but that car is 10.9 seconds up the road. And there goes Garen Batten running a little wide. Espedy will take the spot away and move into 11th. And for 4th place, here comes Burkhardt again on Shelley.
Oh, and Shelley going to run wide and Ravaza, and then through the second part of the corner.
Yeah, Shelley's just going to give that spot. No need to battle in that particular moment. Just let it happen. And another Big D NRG car. This one on the offensive, looking at Austin Espedy, trying to grab that spot back. You're watching the MTEC Sprint Series here on Sim TV. Round 1 of 6 here at Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Edino Ferrari, also known as Imola, a little easier to say. We are 1 hour and 30 minutes into this 2-hour racing event. This team racing event will span 2 hours over the course of 6 rounds. And currently, it's been a pretty dramatic race so far. Blake Reynolds leading in the 0-1 for Penguin RC Simulations LLM Lone Star. And this car got the lead in the pit cycle because of a co-driver issue for the number 88 Bombshell Racing team car and collision that involved the 888 Sustin Martin team. They are now back in 3rd, still trying to climb up through the order, but running out of time to do so. 18 laps translates to 29 minutes and 43 seconds remaining in this race. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Finney and Dakuna, getting down to the very tail end of our first event of the season. Thanks for joining us here on Sim TV, and enjoy the rest of the coverage for the rest of this race.
Yeah, and a lot of the guys, especially in the top 5, more or less getting themselves strung out by about 2-3 seconds apiece. It seems like everyone's kind of found their natural position in the top 5. As we look at a battle.
Oh, trouble, contact.
Hello.
Big door slam down the front straightaway. Nathan Cherry and Dale Green absolutely bumper to bumper, door to door, and slamming them, trading paint in their Aston Martin Vantage AMR GT4s. That was a pretty heavy hit.
Yeah, sparks flying metaphorically and literally as they head down to Villeneuve.
I don't think this is done yet either, and behind it, headlights are flashing because that is the race leader, Blake Reynolds.
I was going to say, he was definitely due to catch lap traffic at some point and officially caught the tail end of the field that's running. There you see a move to the right for Dale Green, and see if Cherry gives the same courtesy.
I have to say that it is really impressive that we are an hour and a half into a race and we are just now having our first natural lappers. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, field's been holding some decent pace, so it's taken some time to get there. Especially because the leaders had lost some time. Probably should have got there a couple laps earlier, but some changes in leaders, some contact here and there.
Up the straightaway towards Variante Alta, and he should dispose of the 16 Nathan Cherry very quickly, and he will. So move both those cars down a lap. 16 drivers left on the lead lap, and they're definitely not done battling it out. I think there's some door dings owed from one driver to the other, perhaps.
Yeah, I was really amazed to see that for both of them battling that hard, and still got half an hour left of racing, and they're probably not going to get separated from each other anytime soon.
No, if they've found the way here, they're going to end up staying here for a little while longer, I bet. This is the closest battle on the racetrack at the moment. 10.3 second lead for Blake Reynolds over Nikhil Kopkar. Then it's Lars Weil behind in third. Then David Nichols, Morgan Burkhardt, Edward Shelley.
Here's a battle closing up quickly. 55 versus 64 for 4th place. So Burkhardt closing in. You saw him closing in past Shelley earlier on. Now working on David Nichols in the 64.
Yeah, this is sort of restoring order to the entropy that is this race in terms of the Pro-Am lineup. We've got 3 Pro cars, then an Am, and then another Pro. So this BRT Bombshell Racing Team Heimdall car, Morgan Burkhardt with Murphy Nichols. Wow, big curb hop there for Burkhardt, not holding back on the curbing. He is about to make this pass here on the 64 and will move his Pro Class car up into the grouping of pros towards the front of the field.
I'm curious how aggressive this 55 wants to be, and doesn't have exactly enough time on his side as cars he can pass up ahead. Going to look to the outside of the hairpin and toss. I haven't really seen anyone attempting to pass on the outside just yet. Can't quite get it done. Here comes the run on the straight, and I'll look to the inside. Drag race down the straightaway.
Yeah, this is a good spot for Burkhardt to be, though, because he'll have the preferred line heading into Piratella. And he'll complete this pass right there, and yes, he'll grab the spot. And now that did allow Edward Shelley, the big TNRG car, to close in just a little bit, but I'm not sure that Shelley will have the pace. This will close in Shelley on Nichols, who is also another Am car. So this is going to be the battle for the Am lead here, the 64
wow,
and
impressive, and just to give you an idea of how quick the 55 is moving, 150.8 last time by. Meanwhile, the leader ran an entire second slower than that. So don't know where the 55 found this pace. Came out of seems like almost nowhere, but he's on a move.
Yeah, Morgan, so Finney, I know you weren't necessarily tuned into the Grid Life iRacers competition that we had all winter with the TCR cars, but Morgan Burkhardt was consistently running up at the front of in the pointy end of the field with guys like DJ Alessandrini, Tom O'Gorman, Paul Darling, and more. So Morgan Burkhardt is a very capable driver, and I think that's shown by his driver rating. He is rated as a gold. I would argue that he might even be higher than that. He's really, really, really good, and I think we're going to see him continue to climb forward. And this season, with a bit of a better starting position, that team could be a threat.
Yeah, I was going to say, looking at his last lap times, doing a bit of a study, looking at the last lap times compared to the leader, Reynolds hasn't really dipped under 51 at all during his stint. Meanwhile, Burkhardt's been consistently dipping in here a lap here and there into the 50s. So he's running some really good pace. I think he's got a shot maybe at second before this race is done.
Yeah, he's got very, very strong pace. Meanwhile, the battle in AM for the top spot is on. The 019 in the green Porsche Cayman, 718 GT4 Club Sport. That's Edward Shelley. He's currently second in AM, 6th overall. David Nichols leading AM leading AM 5th overall. This is that battle.
And the only Porsche left in the field running right there in the mirror, trying to get that top 5 spot. It's a decent run again. Not really going to try to look up in a rally. Ooh, I think 64 is going to run a little bit hot ass to get off. Big run for the Porsche. Actually can't quite get it done as he runs over the curb, loses that momentum.
Yeah, and the Porsche I'm not sure it's going to out-drag the Aston into Variante Alta, but it will probably out-handle it later in this race and later in this lap in particular. And Shelley is running a little quicker, and David Nichols was a little compromised last time around, a 53.1. About 2 seconds off what we'd expect. Really deep dive on the brakes for Shelley. That will close the gap just a touch as we get down to the final 23 minutes or so of this race.
And now the run onto the straightaway here. Again, we expect the Aston to have bigger legs when it comes down to power, but that Porsche still getting the run. Pull to the left-hand side, now a drag race towards turn number 1.
He has enough momentum. He should make this position and get it cleared by the time they get to the first corner. And he's going to crowd over on the 64 just a touch, and he will take the AM lead away. Can he maintain it, though? Bit of a bobble on the curbing.
And bobbling over the place, trying to keep the momentum going. Here comes the Aston Martin. Is he going to be aggressive?
You know what they say about aggressive?
Thought about it. Aggressive goes around.
Aggressive goes around.
You wonder if we'll get sued for that?
We?
Yeah.
No. Why would we get sued for that?
I don't know. I don't know. Rick Allen's not having a good day.
Trademark it then.
Can we though?
No,
I mean, he said it. He said it first.
He says a lot of things first. I don't know if that means they're good things. Just over 20 minutes to go, and this battle for 11th is getting a little bit interesting. Austin Espedy, Garen Batten, and Nicholas Gowan. Gowan was the quickest of this trio the last time around at his number 18 Gowan Racing Aston Martin Vantage.
Oh, and if you actually, oh, never mind. I was going to say if you look back, I thought that was the race leader. It was not. It's the other Penguin Racing car. It's Ray Kingsbury running in behind him.
Yeah, this Gowan Racing car, as we mentioned earlier, shares a lot of resemblance to that Heart of Racing Aston. That car in the real world is driven by Gray Newell, and I know Gray pretty well. He's a good guy. And the story behind Gray is that he had never driven a race car prior to the pandemic, and
really?
was asked to join the Heart of Racing team, and within a year won his first race, and I got to interview him at Victory Lane at Watkins Glen. It was a really cool moment for him, having never really stepped into anything. He just recently tested an LMP2. So he's really had his racing career on an accelerated path.
He's working his way up pretty well. Most guys don't even get a chance to drive that in their entire career. They're stuck doing karting the rest of for most of their career, and he's in LMP2s already. That's pretty cool.
I don't know how he's a very normal-looking dude and has a very normal sort of life story. So it's kind of interesting. But,
it's a diss.
No, I'm just it's not. He's a good guy. I like him. He just doesn't look like a soccer player. You know what I mean? Blake Reynolds leads the way by 12.1 seconds, and let's give a shout out to Blake's teammate, that of course being Sarah Robb. She piloted this car inside the top 5 for the entire race and let Blake have the position that he's in now. Blake certainly helped establish this lead, but Sarah's driving earlier put this car in position. It really is a team effort here in the MTEC Sprint Series, and Reynolds has got about 20 minutes left to hang on to this spot. 13 laps in just about as many minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you said it best, right? Because it definitely is a team series. So I mean, if your teammate doesn't do the legwork in the beginning, can't really do a whole lot towards the end. And Rob gave Reynolds the car in 3rd place, so took over from that, got 2nd and got 1st, and then just took off and again leading 12 seconds over 2nd place Cup car in the 11th.
Austin Espedy still battling with Garen Batten, and Batten is closing, and Gowan Racing's Nicholas Gowan is not too far behind, so 20 minutes to go. And this one still yet to fizzle out. That is a word this time.
Well, we got a battle brewing also ahead of these guys for third place. Burkhardt catching up to Lars in the 888 machine.
Now Lars Weil, last time around was a 152.0, 151.0 for Morgan Burkhardt. And that was a half second faster than the platinum rated race leader. So let me tell you, when Morgan is a gold rated driver, I don't think that quite says enough about his talents. He is really closing in and is looking to put this Bombshell Racing Team car on podium.
I think he's going to probably do more than that. We still have 12 laps race, and that's quite a bit of time. In his case, as far as trying to catch up to third. Second's actually starting to extend a little bit further ahead. Nikhil Kapkar about 5 seconds up ahead from both of these guys, so maybe a little bit more work there, but definitely has a shot at third place.
And this is going to be McLaren versus Aston Martin. This is a battle we've seen a lot today. Up front, the top 10 contained 8 Aston Martin Vantages. 1 Porsche Cayman and 1 McLaren 570S. That is the Bombshell Racing McLaren of Burkhardt and Murphy Nichols. But a lot of Astons in this field. And again, it just sounds the best, it looks the best, and it handles pretty good. So I see why it was a popular choice.
It reminds me how the Mercedes for a decent amount of time in the earlier days of GT3 was the go-to car. Everyone and their mother was driving a Mercedes GT3.
Well, I wish my mom drove a Mercedes AMG GT3. That'd be cool. Look, I like our 2007 RAV4, but I'll tell you what. Here it is. Here comes Burkhardt now to the outside of the 888. Swings to the right and into turn 1. Should have this at least alongside. We saw this earlier and it ended in a crash. This time, looks like Burkhardt knew enough to back out. But that is an easy way to get yourself into trouble if you just try to force a pass and you force the completion before it really is necessary.
Trying to look left, look right, can't quite do anything with it, going to sit in behind. I was just amazed at how well the 888 did under braking while doing a great job to keep that Aston Martin ahead. I honestly thought the McLaren had it, but proved me wrong.
Accelerating up towards Piratella now and jumping back briefly to this battle with Espedy, Batten, and Gowan. Gowan's kind of fallen off the boat here just a touch, but the 003, the big DNRG car, the Kinetic Racing 69 are running nose to tail. Here comes the dive from the 003, just to the inside, and got squeezed there a little bit at the kink in turn 1. Now into the Tamburello area, and through goes the 003. He'll have the spot for now.
Yeah, Batten on over the curve is on what's technically turn number 1 before Tamburello, and managed to get it done. Aggressive moves going to pay off up to 11th.
Austin Espedy again running that lone BMW in the field today. Making it work up to 12th place. I should say down to 12th in this particular moment. Gowan closing just a touch. And for third, here comes a dive. Burkhardt on the 888 Aston Martin team car, and he'll grab the spot just like that. It's over. Let's have a look. Had a huge run coming out of Variante Alta. Just chucked it down the inside, Finian, and just like that.
Yeah, just had such a strong second sector, was able to catch back up. But here comes the Aston Martin. Oh, almost going to clip him and turn him into the wall. Drafts it up to the last possible second, pulling up to the right-hand side of the Aston Martin, trying to do better on the brakes, and will power around the outside.
That was a power move there by Lars Weil, and he gets the job done and will hang on to it. Here comes Burkhardt again, left, right. Elevator move top to bottom, pick a groove because you're going to have to stick with it in the next corner. But that was an amazing resurgence by Lars Weil there on the outside to grab that spot back from Morgan Burkhardt.
And Weil's doing a fantastic job under braking. I mean, that's exactly what you need to do. If you want to make up positions, you want to defend, you need to be good on the brakes, and Weil doing a fantastic job. Here comes Burkhardt, though. He's got another potential run as they go to Paratella.
Yeah, I don't think the 55 is going to hold back too much more. To the inside here. Now it jumps on the binders a little bit. Meanwhile, behind, the 31 and 21 are going at it.
Burkhardt almost actually going sideways as he mounted up and over the curb. He's straight now. Everything's settled there. They work through Aquaman Rally.
Burkhardt's the quicker car, but you have to make it stick. You have to get past that front straightaway section. I would have thought that he would have had enough legs in the McLaren to clear the 888 and never look back, but didn't get far enough away to negate the slipstream effect that the Aston will get in tow behind the McLaren.
There they go as they head down to Ravazza. They got a second chance.
Well, he didn't make the same move twice, which is interesting.
I think he's going to wait till the straightaway maybe.
Yeah, this is where the strength of the McLaren will play in, though. That will help him. Yeah, look at the run he's going to have now. This should be an easy pass at this point. Which side do you pick? It will be the left. Wow, almost to the grass. Had to make that exciting, no matter how you did it. And here comes
up and over the
Burkharddt.
curves again.
Yeah.
We're going to try to crowd him on the exit just to make sure he doesn't stick it back up the inside on the turn. Whoa!
Big tank slapper for Weil there. He had to gather it back up, and here comes Edward Shelley now with a run.
Yeah, trouble is he's trying to turn back to the other side to send off for the next corner and almost took the car off balance, but as you mentioned, Shelley in the 019 trying to make a comeback.
Yeah, watch this again. Just whoop. Wow.
Yeah, because you have to get a car to the right side to make that left-hander at speed, and it almost cost him the race there, working the car so hard.
So quick check-in on the gaps here. Blake Reynolds leads by 11.3 over Nikhil Kopkar. Then it's Morgan Burkhardt's, Lars Weil, Edward Shelley, your top 5. Then David Nichols, Rui Pinto. We haven't talked about the driver in the 25. Now the penalty will stack on to the end of this race for the 25, but they are 12 seconds ahead of the 8th place car and 12.5 seconds ahead of the 9th place car. So if there's a 25-second penalty, it only will take it back 2 or 3 spots.
I was going to say, I think there's about 25 seconds worth of penalties coming their way. Again, there's going to be a whole bunch of, I think, post-race review for the admins, so they may get lowered or whatever. We'll see what the admins do, but yeah, about 25 seconds worth of penalties coming that team's way, so they're just on the cusp of potentially actually making only 1 position loss if they can push a little bit harder in these last couple laps.
3-car battle for 11th place. Big D, NRG, Kinetic Racing, and Gowan. Again, these 3 have been sort of locked together. 12 minutes remaining in this race. Garen Batten, Austin Espedy, and Nicholas Gowan. Well, 3 of the 4 different makes, models, and manufacturers represented in this particular scrap. McLaren, BMW, and Aston Martin.
These guys can't quite get enough of each other. I think they've been stuck with each other almost the entire race, I want to say, if not close to that. They're kind of hovering around the main position, these few positions in the midfield.
On board now with Edward Shelley. Shelley is trying to run down the 88-8 Sussin Martin M Plower, powered by Radio Baco car, Lars Weil, into Tossa.
And Shelley's actually looking a little bit better. And I'm not sure if it's maybe these 2 guys looking better. Maybe Triple Eight's burned up his stuff. He's looking slower and slower each lap.
Yeah, definitely struggling, this Triple Eight is. And remember, it led 25 laps, almost half this race, before the contact with the 88 bombshell car, which is now, I believe, going to be officially retired. It's not going to... Whoa! Almost a dive from Shelley. Almost, it was a dive. He almost got clobbered, though. That was a little dicey.
Yeah, Weil went a little bit too far to the left here in Aquaman Rally. You're going to see him turn in and then catch his curb, almost a little bit of grass, and just slow down way too much, and Shelley almost went into back him, as you said.
That could have been a real big mess. So 3rd place fight, still a good one. Morgan Burkharddt has driven away. 4th place, though, very, very interesting. But how about back in the field a little bit? This is in AM. This is the 003, 69, and 18. These 3 continue to run nose to tail. How much longer do you think they're willing to be cooperative with each other before they start to be problematic?
I mean, well, we're getting close to the last few laps of the race, so at some point things I imagine are going to change. Also, Paul Gibson losing some position.
Yeah, Gibson down a spot, loses one to Matt Kingsbury, although Gibson was actually on the attack on that car. There's Gibson here.
Yeah, actually, Gibson came down to a near stop. I think he cut the corner at some point. I think he had to give that up.
Yeah, there is Matt Kingsbury, teamed up with Christian Ost. Great looking livery on this Complex Simworks car. But he'll get a few more moments to kind of fight for his 9th position, because I think Gibson's coming back, so I don't think that's over just yet. Just behind them is that battle for 11th we were just watching with Big DNRG and Kinetic Racing.
Yeah, Speedy gonna try to get something off the McLaren up ahead. Getting a car with a cross-section of a refrigerator. Trying to get some sort of slipstream down towards Tambrillo.
Yeah, but again, even if you get alongside here, what are you going to do? This car is not going to turn in as crisp as the McLaren. It's not going to have the grunt off like the Aston does. I'm not really sure what the BMW excels at, but it's not that much better at anything than any other car.
It really doesn't, which is why I think a lot of guys just don't pick it, because it's master of none, I guess, and yeah, it's just master of none.
It's just sort of an all-around, like, you know, it's the white bread car that just, you know, it's food, yes, but it's not the tastiest thing you could have on your plate. That McLaren, though, woof, that thing's sweet.
So why is the car in front at the moment? Speedy's not been able to get anything done with that McLaren. He's been close so many times, so many laps, but just hasn't been able to make it all click together to get ahead of that green McLaren.
And there hasn't been enough pressure from Gowan to make me think that the 18's any quicker than the 69 is. I think the 69 is kind of equivalent on pace to the 003, and if he got in front of the 003, there might be a battle to be had the other direction as well, but for now, they're going to stay put. Up front, 8 minutes left for the Penguin RC Simulations LLM Lone Star car of Blake Reynolds. He has a 12-second lead over PG-13 Aston of Nikhil Kopkar.
Yeah, I think for Kopkar, I think he's definitely not trying to push the issue here. Just got a solid gap back to Burkhardt, 6 seconds. And just trying to manage that.
Look in the mirror. There is a black Aston Martin, and that is Paul Gibson's PG-13 racing car. Whoa, big slide for Matt Kingsbury, wrestling the car a bit.
He's got to be careful with the way he defends, otherwise he's going to be sent flying like the Aston Martin. The wings on the badge.
Paul Gibson all over the tail of the 21. A little understeer through Tossa and a little oversteer on exit. Had a lot of wheel cranked in it.
And I haven't seen Gibson in too much of a run here heading to Parentella. Here's to see what he's going to do. A little bit, not a whole lot of mid-speed corner from Kingsbury. A little bit loose in the middle of the corner.
Kingsbury was really hot here into the second part of Akmanarale, and that's going to leave Paul Gibson a huge run here up towards Variante Alta. He should have this pass complete by the time they get down there, unless they make contact.
Out Kingsbury.
Oh, and Kingsbury's not going to take it. They're going to make contact, and the 31 goes wide. Headlights flashing.
Yeah, well, I think they're gonna probably have to agree to disagree with that one. Neither driver giving up, and I think it's gonna be on between these two.
No, I'm not sure that we're completely done yet. Is the 21 going to feed him back? Any contact here?
Yeah, you gotta be careful. Remember, the admins are watching, so don't get into too much mischief because you will get a penalty.
Let's go back and look. We have to go back a little farther than this, but he just kind of gets crowded here on entry. I see his frustration that he comes back here, stays to the outside, and kind of knocks into the 31. That second part is interesting to me. He didn't really leave the 31 a lot of room on the inside there either, so I think the stewards will look at that as kind of a you hit him and then he hit you sort of deal.
Yeah, so I think both drivers will be, happy.
Both drivers will be very upset, but they'll be upset equally.
Yeah, I guess that's the best way to phrase it. Yeah. So we'll say, imagine that would be left to rest, as I said, with the admins.
They all feel like the other one did the worst thing, I bet.
That's race car drivers in general.
Yeah. They would fight over the color of the blue and the blue or gold dress, I bet.
Oh God! Why'd you bring that up?
It's blue.
That was the dumbest thing.
It's blue. Right?
I mean, I have two eyes, and I saw it as blue.
Okay, good.
Here's a blue car.
A blue car and a green one by that stretch. Austin Espedy is in the blue BMW. Garen Batten in the green McLaren.
Whoa, gonna run a little bit hard to the left hand side. Gotta watch out for the grass, but tries to get a great run. Nowhere to go, an aggressive block from the McLaren.
He had a run, but he kind of had to kill it to not hit the back of the 003, so that was perhaps a little disappointing for him in the moment. He carried good mid-corner speed, despite the heft of the BMW M4.
Yeah, Batten did a great job of defending into the chicane, parked it on the entry, and then went hard on the exit and able to stretch back out. So great defense. Looking back up at these two, it's Gibson and Kingsbury yet again. Round 2.
Yeah,
Ding.
That was good. The complex Simworks car get paired with Christian Ost. Look at the run that they're going to have to the inside this time into turn 1. Here we go.
And Kingsbury going to throw it in there, complete the pass by the time they get to the first part of the corner. Kingsbury sideways. Here comes Gibson around the outside.
Oh, Gibson's not going to be able to hang that out there. He keeps the right sides just in one layer of grass, not all the way to the gravel. But that was a really strong pass by Kingsbury. He kind of wiggled and wobbled, but he gathered it back up. Now Paul Gibson's on the offensive again. Oh, behind him. One of the cars just took a big hit. That is a
sports car.
Yes. A lot of damage, though, to it.
And Nathan Cherry in the 16. I'm going to see if he's going to try to continue that. Left wheel has definitely seen better days.
No, that car is going to be in trouble. Only a couple minutes left. 3 minutes to go. 2 laps left next time by. Meanwhile, quick check-in on 4th place. This is going to be a battle here. The Sustin Martin team, Lars Weil and Edward Shelley. Here comes Shelley finally. This has been a battle that's been brewing for some time. Will the Porsche outdrag the Aston?
Yeah, I'm really surprised, and especially because the Porsche is actually outdragging the Aston Martin. And going to clear him by the time they get to turn 2 here. Wow, going to have to settle in behind. I'm really surprised at how far this Triple Eight's fallen off the pace.
Yeah, down to 5th overall. And it looks like the Shelley machine will hang on to it for now. Big T NRG up to 4th place. But that Aston is really good at the section they're in at the moment. Check back in on Kingsbury and Gibson because now we're back on the front straightaway again and advantage Gibson in the slipstream.
Round 3, ding.
Here he comes to the inside. Gibson in the 31. On the brakes.
And neither driver willing to give in. Kingsbury going to hold it, and Gibson's going to have to yield. I'm waiting to the point where neither one yields, and they're going to make contact again. I feel like it's coming up on the last lap.
Yeah, they're going to have 2 laps to go. Next time by the stripe. Actually, no, this should be white flag this time. It will be white flag this time by. So 1 minute and 35 remaining for Blake Reynolds. As we come out of the final corner and across the line, this will be our final lap of the race. And there is the white flag from the flag stand. So one more time around. And Blake Reynolds leads by 12 seconds, but we are far from over in a couple of our fights. Edward Shelley and Lars Weil and the Complex Simworks and PG-13 racing cars and Gibson.
Oh, Weil coming into the pits.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting indeed. Not sure if there was a miscalculation or what this is for. Wasn't ordered to by race control to come into the pits either, so I'm not exactly sure what this was for.
Could have been a miscalculation somewhere. Look at this battle. This is the 25 and 64. This is for position.
Yeah, this is about to point out the 25 had caught up to the 64 is going to make the move now, looking to the right-hand side.
Entering their final lap here. Wow, big cut for the 64. That might have been too much.
That's definitely too much. I'll be amazed if he was able to get back out, because that if so, he got away with murder.
No, he's going to have to give it up there. The 25 will slide on through. So top 5 potentially for the Pinto machine, but remember that they're going to have to give up a whole bunch of time post-race. Meanwhile, final lap for these two, the 21 and the 31, and we're going to go at this again. Round 4, ding! Here they come.
Beat me to it. Here they come. Yeah, side by side. Is either one going to yield this time? By we saw them play relatively nice. Kingsbury going to slide behind. Gibson parking the bus on the entry of the chicane.
Yeah, Gibson's got it now. Flowed through there very, very nicely. David Nichols is in the fence. Uh-oh, the 64 car in the wall. And, oh, this is a big crash.
Oh, and so, oh, man, it's so close to the end of the race.
What happened here? Hardware failure?
No, I think just pushed it too hard.
Oh, my
I think
goodness.
Was trying to keep up with the 25, and unfortunately went into the wall. But at the checkered flag.
Here comes Blake Reynolds. And the Penguin RC Simulations 01 will win the Pro category for the MTEC Sprint Series by 12 seconds over the 11 PG-13 Threat Level Midnight. Nikhil Kopkar behind the wheel, second place. Then Bombshell Racing Team, Morgan Burkhardt behind the wheel, podium for the 55 car. Then in fourth place overall, in the top driver in the AM class, Edward Shelley will bring the 019 home for Big TNRG. That is unfortunate for the 64 to be so close to the end of this race. And that is going to be it for them, unfortunately. The 64 crashed on the very last lap. Yeah,
I mean, I'm a bit surprised. It was fairly avoidable, and I'm sure he's going to be kicking himself because that was such a good run for that team again, especially in the AM standings, because Everett Shelley and the 019 finished ahead. I think that was between teammates.
Yeah, both had Penguin RC logos on the car, so I'll leave it at that. Man, that Aston's a pretty car. Blake Reynolds is the winner and paired up with teammate Sarah Robb. They are the winners of the first round of the season. Let's have a look at our race results. And at the top of the order, it's Reynolds, Kopkar, Burkhardt, Shelley, Pinto, your top 5. Again, all the white backgrounds, those are your pro cars. The orange are the M cars. But Paul Gibson ended up with an 8th place, Matt Kingsbury 9th, so that's how that battle ended after a whole bunch of fiddling towards the end. Down the order a little bit further, the drivers out 18th on back, Nathan Cherry, the 16, the 88, the 52, all crashed out early, Finian. But a strong round, lots of really good racing throughout the entire 2-hour event.
Yeah, I thought it was going to die down at some point, but never quite did. There was always at least some battle going on the racetrack with these guys. So, and in general, great racing overall. Saw some beating, saw some banging, but in general, some really great racing, really hard racing amongst a lot of these guys. So looking forward to the rest of the season.
In a moment, we'll talk to our race winners and more. But I want to talk a little bit more about the track that we were at here. We started things off at Imola, but our next round we go to the Hungaroring, which is a lot smaller, a little bit less straightaway, and a little more hustly. So I think the Porsche might be the best car to have there. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't seem like it stretched its leg, but I mean, we only have 2 of them, so you don't really have much of a sample size to go off of, and again, it could be dependent on some setup. So we don't quite know. We know obviously with the Aston Martin, and McLaren, we know what they're capable of because we have quite a few of those cars. So I don't know, have to keep our eyes on and see what these guys bring to the table, especially when it comes down to setup. We may see a completely different picture by the next round.
Well, we've got a couple drivers to talk to and interview here in just a moment, but let's get through a couple of the drivers as quickly as we can. We've got Blake Reynolds, our overall race winner, here with us. Blake was competing in the 01 Penguin RC Simulations LLM Lone Star team. Blake, congratulations. You and your teammate Sarah Robb completely dominated that race at the very end after the pit stop. Some dramas from the overall leading cars led you guys to be out front, and you just never looked back. Take us through your race, because as soon as you jumped in that car, it was all in the mirror.
Yeah, it kind of felt that way. I didn't really feel like I had to pass anyone. It just kind of all fell back for me. I was kind of confused. A lot of guys started their pro drivers first, and typically in MTEC proper, that wasn't the strategy. Usually you wanted to have your better driver at the end, so a little confused as to why some people did that, but ended up being beneficiary for us in our number 01 beautiful Penguin RC livery. LLM car, and Sarah did a really nice job that first stint. She was a little nervous, it felt like, after qualifying, and once we got in the race, she made up a couple spots, got through, had an excellent battle with the 11 and the 888 and the 64, and that was all good fighting.
Well, it was certainly a fun race to watch. This is going to start you guys off in a really good position for this season. How do you feel? I mean, you didn't really get a great opportunity to race kind of neck and neck with a lot of people today, but looking at lap times, the lap times weren't all that different. So how confident do you feel that you can repeat this result at other rounds this season?
I feel like this is definitely one of the harder tracks to pass. GT4 being slower pace, you can kind of go side by side a lot easier, I think. I think our next round's actually Winton, so I think that's actually a little harder to pass now I think about it. But you know, very few people have run laps there, I would assume. So I'll go into there kind of taking it as a fresh opportunity to get some info. Because same thing here, we had a lack of info on the Aston for this track because I don't think this car's raced here before. So that's kind of how I go at it. Everything's a little fresh for everybody, especially with the Aston. So looking forward to the next rounds, and I think we'll have some good racing.
Well, Blake, thanks for talking to us. Congratulations and best of luck to you at the next round at Hungaroring next month. We'll see you there.
Yep. Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you. Talk with our podium finishers, third place finishers, both Morgan Burkhardt and Murphy Nichols. They finished in third in the number 55 Bombshell Racing Team Heimdall car. Murphy, let's start with you. You started in the car today, and you were kind of in the thick of it right there at the start, but piloted that car, kept it in the mix. Take us through the first half of the race from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it was just my goal was to keep it clean, obviously not get any damage. I knew that incident points were going to be an issue this race, and I tried my best to minimize that, although granted, at the end of my stint, it would probably look like I wasn't doing that because I think I finished with like 13x or something, and it was just like, I was getting a little frustrated because I knew I wasn't as quick as some of the other guys, and I was just trying to keep up with the pace, but once I kind of got my head down and just started cranking out good laps, like I was doing mid 51s, I think, mid to high 51s at the end, which I knew was good for me. Had one or two mistakes, but was able to bounce back from it fairly quickly. And then obviously Morgan did more than enough to secure us that top three.
Well, it was a strong run for you, Murphy. You turned the thing over to Morgan Burkhardt at the second half of the race. Morgan, you ran through the rest of the field, got all the way up to third, running some of the fastest laps on the racetrack. Looking back on this race, is there anything more you could have gotten out of it? You drove all the way up to the podium, so you have to be proud of that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really proud of that. It was a lot of fun to kind of start. I think we started out 7th, and just from then on, just put my head down, run lap after lap after lap, and see where I got us at the end. I don't think we really could have gotten anything more out of it. Third was really the best that we were going to get today, so I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah, it was with about half an hour left. We were looking at the X counter, and it was at 19 of 20. So we did the last half an hour on 1X.
Wow, that's impressive, Morgan. So you've got yourself in a really good spot, I'd say, in terms of your pace this season. Do you think you guys have the pace together as a team to win another round?
I think we do. Yeah, I think we can definitely put that together. I haven't looked at the schedule to see what's up, but I think it's definitely within the realm of possibilities.
All right, well, hey, congratulations to both of you guys. That was a really strong run, and best of luck to you guys at the Hungaroring on June 11th. That's round number 2.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, Finney, that's going to wrap things up for the interviews today. Final thoughts on the first round of the MTEC Sprint Series. Really competitive all around. No disappointment in terms of the action we saw. There was a little bit of argy-bargy, as there always is, but I think we have a really competitive group of drivers.
No, we definitely do, and I think they have the potential to put on a really good show for us for the rest of the rounds. I was thinking, Imola, at the beginning it'd be really cool because once everyone's so close together, we see some action, then it would kind of sprinkle out. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the action throughout pretty much all the race, and then as some of the drivers alluded to, next round we'll be heading to is Hungaroring in 1 month's time.
Well, that's going to be round number 2. This is round 1 complete. My name is Kyle Heyer alongside Finney Nakuna. We'll see you next time here on SimTV. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the Hungaroring.